Why is it happening? There we go. Hello. Welcome to another episode of What in the World. Why did it die? I really should start. What's happening? My episodes. A number of my episodes because I started to do more and more now. And when I first started live streaming, I used to usually number my episodes, but I guess because I started doing a lot more frequently, I kind of stopped doing that, which is not very good actually. Hello, Furiosa. Furiosa? How do I pronounce that? Furiosa sounds quite right. But initially, numbering my episodes made a lot of sense. But now I do a lot more of them. It's very tough to remember to do that. But I'm a stickler for keeping historical record. And I think that would be a good way to do that. Just knowing, oh, what's that? How are you, man? How you doing? Just knowing, like, okay, we're up to number, I don't know, 300 for the year or 200 something for the year. I think Joe Rogan numbers his episodes. Just got quite dark all of a sudden. I'm not sure why. Anyway, I think the lighting's still okay. I'm not bad. I'm actually a bit sleepy. I woke up from a nap. I ended up napping in the midday because it's just not great for me. But I was really tired and I didn't sleep very well at night, so the nap beckoned. How was your day? How are you doing? Hope you've had a good day. And hope you're looking forward to what should be a very entertaining live stream. Maybe not in the political sense like I usually do, but maybe in a different sense. Why the hell is my lighting not? Oh, this thing's not working properly anymore. Why is that? Sorry, I might have to change my lights. All work, no fun. Oh, I'm sorry about that. What do? You don't mind me asking? I might need to get a new light. This stuff's gonna get tense. We'll see. We'll see how exciting in the pejorative it gets. I talked about it a bit yesterday. You might have missed that, to be honest. Education. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Kids can be rough. Oh, I'm looking for a backup light, but I can't seem to find my other light, which is a bit annoying. So I talked about this a bit yesterday, and I think I posted a few videos about it. I was meant to post a video about the male perspective of it today, but I seem to have forgotten. Not forgotten. Just in the commotion of the rest of the day, I didn't really quite get to do that. But I'll post it tomorrow or something. I'll get around to it for sure. So the idea behind this is that I ran into this article, which was on, I forgot the magazine it was in, and it was around the good man shortage, which is not something that's Curate is already joining. I'll have to Curate. I can accept you, but I'll have to do the
Thanks. You're welcome.
No, I'll have to do the what do you call it, the cleanup of the topic before we get into it, because I haven't really done that already. So I ran into this what do you call it, this article about the good man shortage. Now the rest of it says the crisis, blah blah blah. She talk about how it's affecting really wealthy people and all that kind of nonsense. But also, it's not something that's quite as new. It's something that we've seen on social media quite a bit, where women talk about the fact that there are no good men left, and I mean, you hear it in both sides. It's in some way you hear like people say the dating pool's got piss in it. Funny, fair enough. And so, as I typically try to do, I try to reflect on this from a more, I don't know, deeper perspective and think about exactly what's at play here. And my conclusions were, I guess, three things: two things on the women's side and one thing on the men's side, which leads to the questions we're going to be discussing today. My two immediate conclusions, I know where it's man, take your time, was that part of this lack of good men that women talk about is oftentimes, obviously, I think a refusal to look inward and reflect on the ways maybe they're not so good, which is basically incompatibility. Like if you're not compatible with someone, but you just want them because you want them, you are going to start to think, oh yes, all the people that I want, they don't want me back. are just bad, which is not true. Um, so that was my main takeaway. My second main takeaway was that I don't think it's a I think it's a made up concept of good men and good women because people that want you and you want them, they're just good. And if there is a lot less people that you think are compatible with you, that doesn't mean there's a lack of good men or women. That's just a lot less people are compatible with you. That's just how it goes. I'll get into the men side of it later. So the way I plan to run this, I guess, is that if you're a woman and you come up, if you've been in my live streams before, sorry, I just need my table. Um, as a woman, you can come up, request a mic, and I guess I'll ask you a few questions about what you consider to be the dearth, good word, of good men. And if you're a man, I'll ask you, about if whether or not you think there's a lack of good women, and I'll get your take on it. Why do you think that might be the case, etc., etc. Perhaps we should define good men and good women first. That is a good point. I mean, I'll leave it to the people that are coming up to define how they see it. Again, my personal definition, which I don't know if I should give it away, is that I think it's a made up nonsense, obviously. So I don't get hung up on those definitions. But obviously, as if you come up and you feel like there's something you're referring to in terms of a good man, I would even accept the fact that yes, it's dependent on your specific situation, your specific interest. You can define that. Let us know what your type is. Basically, that's quite fun to know. So all right. With that being said, hello, curated. How are you?
Hello.
Do you consider there to be a lack of good men in your view?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, in short. And I think when we refer to good men or good women, we're not actually asking, like, are these good people or decent human beings? I think what we're saying is this person ready, like good within the confines of a monogamous relationship?
Hmm.
So are they willing to make compromises? Are they willing to even be monogamous in the first place? Are they willing, like how willing are they to adapt to being with someone else? I think that's what we define by good. And I think even just looking at my friend group, and I think I have equal male and female friends, I know more women that are willing to like be in a relationship and actually work towards a good, healthy relationship. And I think that's what we define by as a good woman. That's what I personally see as. And I know less men that are willing to work on and be in a healthy monogamous relationship. And I think that's what we define as a good man.
Now, when you say like you define a good man, good woman as people that are ready, basically ready for a relationship,
And actually willing to do the work, yeah.
right, okay. Would you
Yeah.
say you wouldn't say the caveat to that would be the men that are, I guess, not ready for a relationship? This makes them bad because they don't want
Because
what the women want.
because they're entering relationships not willing to follow the rules of relationships.
Though they're entering relationships, you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean let's not talk generally. Let's get a
Okay.
bit more specific. You
Mhm.
specifically, you consider there to be a lack of good men. But I guess based on your anecdotal experience, you said, but I suppose good would also be like the reason why someone could say that those men are not entering those relationships ready to do well because those women are not the women for them. Now, okay, you can then say why you're in a
Then why
relationship in the
waste
first
their time?
place.
And that's what makes me a bad a bad man.
Hmm.
Because you literally, so you're building, you're proving my own point. Um,
So you consider
yeah,
that you consider this to be like a massive issue that we're seeing right now, where a lot of men are doing this. Is that how you
yeah.
see
I
it?
mean, I think there's many reasons for it. I think women joining the workforce, women now earning equal or in some cases more than men has changed the dynamic, right? And I feel like a lot of men are now confused as to where their place might be. But I think that's even slightly separate. I think we there are just not that many men that want that wholesome, peaceful, or that will actually work towards it. They claim they want it, but I think there are less men than there are women that are willing to put the work in. I think men perhaps have been conditioned and socialized into certain expectations and certain things,
Hmm.
like, yeah, that they are just not well suited for that lifestyle.
Hmm.
So again, those men might be great friends, great brothers, great, employees, great members of society. So it's only like are they decent human being? Because there are guys that are amazing. They're like amazing people, the kindest people, the most helpful, whatever. But then in relationships, they suck. you know, and then that makes him a bad man in that relationship.
I mean, obviously, in the relationship, people can be like not great, on a relative scale. I think if you think about what the title of this article is talking about, though, it's talking about like, okay, there are lack of people available. How much would you say women are culpable in? I would say for myself personally, I can't imagine myself respectfully being in a bad relationship because if someone is not who I want, I just won't go for them. Sometimes women talk about the fact that, oh, in these relationships these men are not doing enough or pulling their weight or whatever, but I would often say like oftentimes the signs are there. You just kind of press on because you have such a strong desire to want this that you don't really consider the fact that if someone is not doing all those things, again, of course that makes them a bad person in the sense of like you should be, but I just think it's a compatibility marker. Like if someone's not willing to put the work in to be, I love curiosity, for example. Like that's my number one thing. I want someone that's curious and ask questions and etc. etc. If someone's not doing that and I find a relationship quite boring, I could say, oh, this woman's just there's not enough people that are like that. But I just didn't have to go with that person because it's not like I'm gonna be only be aware of that when we start dating or when we get married or like we're in a serious relationship. The things that are really really important to me, I could just decide to focus very deeply on that. And if this person is not satisfying that, I could just choose not to be in a relationship. So would you say like there is some culpability here where just because women want it so badly, they are often willing to force it, for lack of a better term, and then later on complain about the fact that, oh my god, all these people are just bad because they don't do things I want them to do.
I think there are women that like definitely force, things, and they believe that the guy will change, and they believe, and to be fair, guys do sell that dream to women too, like, oh, just give me time, just be patient, just da 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 da. So, but I think a lot of women are now waking up and having much stronger, firmer like standards and like boundaries. So I think we're definitely going to see less of that in the coming years.
Oh,
But I think women have been sold the dream for many, many years. Oh, just be patient. It's just a phase for the guy. He'll come around. And guys also feed that delusion by
who
saying,
sells them this dream?
I think perhaps older women previously, so like mothers, aunties, and advising their, daughters might say, "Oh, that's just how men are. It's just a phase. When the kids come, he'll change. Or when you get married, he'll change. Or when you buy a house, he'll change. Or when, you know, there's always like some kind of like, and it's a trap. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a trap to get you married and get you married off, and eventually you realize it's that point is never coming. But I think a lot of women, because now we're also getting to see well, he gets into hear from like divorced women that have like already fallen into this trap. We now know what to expect. We know, okay, if he's not helping you now with the dishes, he probably isn't going to help you when you have kids. So perhaps don't fall for this trap.
What a revelation.
What a revelation.
What a revelation. I mean, from the male perspective, I'm wondering if maybe what's going on here is that I guess I also have a lot of male and female friends. And if I speak for those people, or just based on what I notice, a lot of men, maybe sometimes it's only an illusion, but they feel like they have a lot of choice. And so when you say that there's just not enough men that are willing to compromise and do these things, I would always say that's just not true. Like if a guy likes someone, or if anyone likes someone, there's nothing they're not willing to do.
See, even this is a fallacy
Oh yeah.
because I've heard it before that, oh, if you're his dream girl, if you're the girl who really wants to be with him. But I've seen men that have gotten their dream girls and did change and then just reverted back because that's just who they are. So I fundamentally don't believe, and this just goes beyond relationships. I don't believe in changing for people. I think you should change because you want to change. Um,
I mean, I guess it goes both ways, right? Of course, you change because like there is a thing to be said about molding each other into like the ideal spouse slash partner. Because part of what if I find confusing is that you just don't hear men complaining about this. Like even if there is a situation where a lot of these men are choosing not to be in relationships, maybe what's going on is something I talked about from a biological perspective. Is like women want relationships more than men do because of biology, because of their hormones and stuff and childbirth and all that kind of stuff. Men
mm,
don't feel that because we don't have wombs and things. So we
I
don't.
think men are complaining though. I think, but
Oh yeah, okay.
their definition of a good woman is different. I'm hearing them say things like, "Oh, the women now are not like the women before. They're not like our mothers. They're not like our grandmothers." I think that's what, because that's what they term as good women.
Have I
So
heard
that's the
that?
complaints I've
I mean,
heard.
I've heard like I guess there's a pushback to this kind of city girl. Again, I don't know how many women in real life actually like identify with that rhetoric that
Right.
much, but like there's a pushback to that kind of type of people and saying like,
But it's also a pushback to women's independence.
really?
Because this is the first time in history where in even in the West, women are able to get top, positions. Women are excelling in their careers. Women are, out earning men. Women are, getting higher qualifications. This is the first time in history. This is the first.
So who's pushing back against that?
A lot of men are.
I mean, again, I don't know, what the sample we're using it is. I'll be honest, but like if I just think about young black men in London that I've spoken to and seen, we don't care.
The pushback isn't
We
necessarily
don't
the
care.
pushback isn't in opposing or resisting it. So I don't think like men in the
Okay.
UK, for example, are against. I think that they take pride in it in theory, like they like the idea of it, but when it comes to actually then like. So it's a trade-off. So a trade-off has happened. You know how like evolutionary there's like a trade-off. So humans, when we start, working, cooking our food, and there was a trade-off for that. When we started walking on our feet, there was a trade-off for that. So there was a trade-off in women joining the workforce. And in theory, I think a lot of men even take pride in knowing, oh, my girlfriend went to Oxford and my girlfriend is a lawyer, my girlfriend works in a magic circle firm. But the trade-off for that is she's also working late nights, so you have to clean up too. The trade-off for that is, do you get what I'm saying? And I don't think they're willing to
Oh, I see what
actually
you mean.
deliver on the trade-off. So in principle, they're like not resisting it, they're proud of it, they're not opposed to it,
Yeah.
but they're not actually facilitating it basically within the relationship.
Again, I don't have good references for that because I guess I'm not at the age where a lot of my friends are married. So I haven't heard of like my friends that have been in relationships complain about the fact that they also have to do household chores or have to speak to like older people that are married to get a feel of that. All my
I
friends
mean,
that are like haven't like.
there's data for it. There's data. I mean, feminism, sociology. Sorry, like 'cause I studied this in A levels.
Okay.
Sociology. There's the triple shift argument that women joining the workforce has just basically just meant that now we're running triple shifts, and the data shows that women that work, well, actually, where both partners work, the woman still does more domestic work within the house. And there's also, well, I think these I think this one I'm about to say is actually more anecdotal, but there's also studies that show that when you're with a man, you actually do more work than when you're single, domestic work. um so yeah, I don't think we need to know people that are married to
No,
get that
the reason I
information.
say we need to like know them is in the context of like obviously our demographics, right? If some older people are complaining about that, that's different to how young people like. I don't know, like the men I know around, again, men around my age or whatever. I don't hear them complain about chores or having to do those things or whatever. These are
Yeah,
all
because
like
they're not doing it, like they're not doing it relative to the woman, but I'm sure the woman might be complaining.
no, as in like if, okay, most of them are not in
For the girls
relationships.
too.
Most of them are not even like the only one I know that one of my friends that lives in like is in a relationship and he lives with his girl. He
Hmm.
cooks more than her, to be honest, from
Okay,
what I
that's
hear.
good.
So that's quite normal to me. Like again, when I date, you know, again, I've never to me I've been a date a girl that cooks better than me. So I have no problem doing those things. Maybe like I don't know, me and my friend are just so unique, but it would be shocking to me if in 2026 you have people that are around our age or younger who are saying like, "Oh, can you bring back the women? You do all the work while I sit around." That would be like, really, like that would be very surprising. Again, I'm sure they might exist somewhere or whatever, but like that wouldn't be. And again, even in that context, it wouldn't be something that would factor into like someone saying, "Oh, there are not a lot of good men left," because a lot of people are talking ostensibly about just dating and not like we're gonna get married and like they didn't. It's not like people are talking about like they went on the first date and the guy was like, "I expect you to be at home doing everything." I'm sure that didn't really happen. We're talking more about like the opinions from a distance of like how they perceive the people to be. What
Mm.
happens when you get married and start living together. Whatever. Most people are not even doing that now. So that might be a bit. That's why I'm saying again, like that depends on. It sounds like the people that are much ahead of us in terms of age or whatever. I wouldn't know what their thing is. Maybe I should have added a qualification that I'm talking again about young black people that are mostly dating now and not married yet or something like that. I guess if you're married, you probably have a different view on it because I guess you are married, right? So you pick someone. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Hmm.
Okay, I am interested to hear from men on this. So if you're a guy, I think someone said earlier they were going to just disagree with me just for the fun of it. Do
So,
you think there's a
but
lack of good women? I can answer. I can. You want to ask a question?
yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what do you think the ratio is, like, to good men versus good women?
I mean,
Because,
I
sorry, because the fact is,
yep.
we're getting married later and lesser. So something is there's a mismatch somewhere.
I mean, I guess the married later is too. There's a lot of like economic factors now, isn't it, about homes and like you said, even work, right? Everyone's so. I remember part of the reason why I hadn't been in a relationship when I was younger is because I was like, I need to get to this stage in my career, and I'm sure men and women start to say that now. Okay, that if I just get to this stage first, then I'll be a lot more comfortable. I think men and women probably say it for slightly different reasons, but given that like you said, women, black people, whatever, this is the most successful generation ever. This article actually mentioned the fact that women are making more than men now, on average or whatever in these circles and stuff, which is funny because everyone makes the point that, everyone, they're so beleaguered and oppressed, financially, and they're making more than us. I guess that doesn't matter for much. Okay. But the, that's one massive aspect of it. The other thing, I guess, if I go to the, if I think there's a lack of good men or the ratio of good men to good women, I think it's largely a made up thing, if I'm being honest. I think if you start to get to a certain stage in life, like you talk about the black woman that's in a Magic Circle law firm and is making six figures at the age of 25 or whatever, just naturally speaking, she'll now want a black man that's doing just as well, maybe even slightly better, that makes 100 and I don't know 50K if she makes 110 or whatever. That maybe now has his own home because she's looking to buy a house next year, etc., etc., etc. All those standards are largely arbitrary. You don't have to have those things. You just choose to. Now, again, if you choose to, all power to you. If that now means that because of that, the people you can find doing that, because again, black people do make up 3% of the population in the UK, maybe a bit higher in London. If that now means that because of that, the people you're looking for are an extremely small number, that doesn't mean like there's a lack of good people. There are people like same thing people say to incels, isn't it? Like if you want a woman and you're complaining about it because like, oh, this supermodel that's really hot, what doesn't want you? You don't have to go for her. You can just go for a woman that's about at your level, or you can reduce those standards. And there are loads of women, there are plenty of women that wouldn't care about, you know, what you look like or the fact that you're not the most attractive man in the world. If you choose to close that circle off and start complaining about the fact that, oh my god, where are all these men that I want that are doing that have all these exact criteria that I want? That's not because people aren't available that would want you, I would like you. That's on you to make your category a bit broader. So by that logic, I don't think like I said, if I want someone that's extremely curious, that's my number one thing, and I'm struggling to find them. Does that mean that those people are not like romantically good? Not really. Just because they don't fall into my category and my specific need doesn't mean that there are not a lot of good people enough to date. If I find that category or that thing to be significant enough where I'm gonna I'm gonna enforce such rigidity over it and not budge and say like, if you don't fit this exact category, you're not good enough for me. Yeah, I'm gonna be complaining all the time. I'm gonna be talking about how there are no good women. It's a cage of my own invention. I could just lose in that category and adjust myself accordingly, and I'll find someone. So I think that's largely what's going on here, where I guess both sides feel like they have a lot of choice. Most definitely, especially if you look at like the demographic we're talking about. They do like, some could say like they have a lot of choice in the sense of like they have a lot of financial and maybe other things that are very, very beneficial. And so because of that, you do genuinely feel like I can do what I want. I don't have to hold out for, I don't have to settle, for this person. I can hold out for, again, a lot of men will say, I'll give you guys insight on the men's side. You know what? If right now I'm making 40K, imagine the kind of woman I could be getting if I'm making 150K. Okay, let me just wait a couple years and not date seriously right now, because the women that are going to be, the circle of women that are going to be opened up to me when I'm making 150K is going to be a lot more than when I'm making 40K. Kind of true, maybe. Also, largely fictional, because what really matters about these people is not always about the money they make, right? You did it to yourself at 25, Bo. Yeah, there you go. That's a man telling you. If Bo now said at 25, or when he gets to 145k or whatever, there are no good women left because now when he goes to 145k, his standards are like, he wants a supermodel or whatever. Maybe it's not always about looks or whatever. Yeah, he wants all these things. Has he just not made up that cage? How much better is the woman he can get when he's making 145k than when he was making 40k? The difference is not real. It's in your head. So if you now, same goes for the woman. If you now think, oh, because I'm doing so well and I want all these blah blah, there are all these men that there might be some men largely that maybe they don't want to cooperate on certain things, but you don't have to date those people. There will be enough people where on an emotional level you have enough that you can make it work. Choosing to ignore those people, and in fact, like I said, the article does talk about the fact that a lot of these men are more they don't make as much as us and all that kind of stuff. Yes, the people that make loads of money in any country are usually a very small percentage of the population. So that's kind of how I see it, and so I completely reject the theory of good or bad women, or men. People sort themselves out at the emotional level. If you can't find someone, that's usually because you've enforced the standard so rigid that you're kind of doing it to yourself. Really, that's how I see it. But obviously, only women complain about those things largely, because it's a birthright, I guess, for you to have exactly everything you want.
But can we just discuss the delusion in men thinking they have like time and options? Because I think a lot of men have been like sold that dream. Like, yeah, if I'm making six figures and I'm 40, I still have time. I can get married then. I can find a 20-something-year-old girl and, want to. And the thing is, I don't think, I mean, listening to what the girls in their early 20s are even saying now, let alone
Yeah.
the girls in their late 20s, they've caught on to that.
Really? Have they though?
They have.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. I'll be honest.
I mean, if a girl in her 20s, a woman in her 20s, is dating a 40-year-old man, she fully expects him to lead with his money. And if you're not willing to do that,
Oh,
then
as in like you're saying, like the men think that those women will want them not only for their money but also like you'll give them emotional
right.
satisfaction. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
those guys are deluded. I mean, it's pretty rare, but I'm sure it happens every so often. But I guess there are some women that are like, we are seeing, like, I'm sure you've seen it as well, this kind of return to like this essentialism of like the man should do all the work and have all the money and the woman should just look pretty and enjoy it. So if that's coming back, maybe there'll probably be enough time, with enough women that are going to
I mean,
then
but
watch that.
I don't think the trad wife culture would ever truly come back,
Oh, really?
because I heard someone say, "How come we never see the older trad wives?" And someone else responded and said, "Yeah, because they either divorced, like."
Yeah, good point. Actually, I didn't think of that. I mean, but someone could say like maybe the older trad wives don't make content. That's
Everyone makes content. If there was a market for them, if there was there is a market for them, if anything.
they're too
So
busy.
why aren't they stepping up?
They got their hands full. They got housework to do. They ain't
Well,
got time for no
I
content.
think the younger trad wives are actually busier because then they have the younger kids. They're still building their home.
Oh
The older
yeah,
trad wives have the kids in college. They
oh yeah, good
typically
point.
have more free time. So they should be the homemakers. They should be the Martha Stewarts showing us what it's like at 50. But they're single. They're divorced. Maybe on this. So I personally think it's a trend, but I don't think it's going to catch on. I don't think more and more women are going to pick that over like having a career.
How would you say that's impacting the dating scene? Again, if you talk about like this lack of good men, because there is a thing obviously, and again, I don't know if it's like a biological thing, or I don't complain about it, but like most women obviously want someone that's making more than them and stuff. So that's not something like a lot of people are willing. No, actually, I'm not even saying a lot of people. I don't really know, but like quite a few people are not willing to compromise on. How would you say? How would you say that's manifesting itself in people now complaining and saying like there's not enough good men out there?
I'm sorry, could you rephrase that question?
I said, how would you say the kind of desire for women to want someone making more than them is affecting this complaint about the lack of good men?
Oh, yeah, I think women over time have always been hypergamy, like practice hypergamy. But now that more women are joining the workforce, and in some cases even now earning men, definitely standards are going to have. But it's like, how low do you want them to drop? Do you know what I'm saying?
as low as the man one drops, which is like a man can have all the money and a woman can just be pretty, and they'll be like, yeah, it's even. It's
But again, it goes back to the trade-off. Okay, so wait, do you believe in 50-50 relationships financially?
of course
I don't.
as a necessity.
I
I mean,
don't.
I suppose it's relative to like how much each person has, but like, I guess
I think
go on.
regardless of how much you have, I
Hmm.
just don't believe in 50-50.
Of
I
course, you're
will
a Nigerian
never.
woman. You, of course, you'd say
Fair enough.
that.
Okay.
Of course, you would say that. Nigerian women, that's how they are. It's even a biological thing.
At this point.
All right, go on. I'm listening. You said you don't believe in it because we're getting to
No,
a nice place here. I'm loving the flow of the convo.
I think I would subscribe to fit. I think in my part, because again, there's one thing to talk about society, but me personally, I think
Yeah.
I'd only subscribe to 50-50 relationship if I was using a surrogate. I think that's the only world in which, and even then, it's
What?
just a fallacy. It's a lie
Wait,
because
what?
if you're,
If
yeah,
you're using a surrogate, like if someone else give birth to the child, you'd be happy to do 50-50. But if you
yes,
give birth to the child, you wouldn't.
yes.
I want to know more. I'm so curious.
I mean, I think it's obvious because there is a physical cost that I think cannot be priced. There is a mental toll. There is I don't know. There's just so much into having babies and having children. And if we just want to be partners where we're both working, we're both contributing
Yeah.
equally, then let's keep it that way, and let's outsource this too. And then we're equal.
No, but like you, so don't you consider the birth process to be like not a one off? Because if let's say you have two or three children, but like isn't the hardest part like the raising? I guess you wouldn't breastfeed as well if you don't give birth
I
to the child,
think
right?
with
Okay, fair enough.
each
I
baby
didn't
you
think of that.
have, it takes a toll on your body, like on yourself. Women, I've seen like there's a girl with a list, and
Hmm.
she basically listens to like women that've had like just. I mean, obviously they're not they're like 1 in 2,000 or 1 in 50,000,
Yeah.
but on the list there is women that have lost their teeth from childbirth because
Oh.
they had. So like if I'm going to risk that, then
Hmm.
I can't do 50-50.
So it's not even, I want to raise something. Even when childbirth is easy, some people don't have any issues with childbirth or going through 9 months of pregnancy. So even when it's easy and you get the easy path in terms of you had no problems, you gave birth naturally, it's still incredibly difficult and challenging. And a huge part of that
Hmm.
is it does take a significant toll on your body. Even on a healthy body, on a healthy young woman, it takes a significant toll.
Okay.
The sleep deprivation, all of that, and it takes years to recover fully from giving birth. It's not once you've given birth and then the baby pops out, that's it. It takes a number of years for your body to fully recover. I think
And
they
so
recommend about 2 years before you have another child to give your body time to recover. But I think it's probably 3 years for you to fully recover.
so do you,
It take,
are you
has
wait, so just to be
so
clear before you
when
continue,
I
are you agreeing
so
with curated then or something?
no, I'm kind of agreeing with what she said, but I feel like she probably is minimizing it a little bit in terms of she's going through the extremes. Like if it's really bad, then I can't do
No, I'm not.
50-50.
No, I'm not. No,
I
no, no.
think
Because I said like early on, I said each baby you have takes a toll on you. Like obviously, I'm talking about the extremes to be dramatic, but I'm
yeah,
aware that every single pregnancy in itself, even if you have a healthy, easy pregnancy, it still takes a physical toll on you. I'm very much aware of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
big time. Mental, physical, mental. It takes a significant toll on you.
All right, okay.
And but I think that even that, I think 50-50 is difficult to do. And I think what happens in relationships
Mm-hmm.
is there's like a natural thing that happens in relationships, even if there's no children involved,
Yeah.
where women do take on the brunt of um, household chores. But not only that, things like little things that add up. I'm going to the shop today and I'm going to pick up a few things, but I'm not going to pick up a few things just for myself. I'm also going to pick up a few things for the house. If I do that more than you, it's no longer 50-50, is it? But that happens more because of the way we operate, right? We don't just let me grab a sandwich for myself. Let me grab a sandwich for myself and my partner. And also, oh, we actually need bleach for the toilet, but
So you
I'll
should
pay for
you
that.
should be
And then
compensated for this.
no, I'm saying, but when you add that up, she's probably contributing more than you right?
I'm not convinced.
You're not convinced, but that's what happens. That's what happens.
I'm not convinced.
Is you
No,
can say that
see,
you're not convinced,
my larger
but
question is, I would like to go back to curated, logic of like her not like I guess not contributing equally financially is some kind of payment for the mental toll of childbirth. I haven't really worked at that formula before, but my wider question about these kind of things is like, if both sides are in it like 100%, what are you keeping that money to the side for? I don't know. In a world in which like that money is, I don't know, you're making it and it's there, why are you putting it away? Like, if this is going to be like we're going to be here to like together till we die, what else do you be planning to spend your money on? That's not
we're
apart from
putting
your
what money
personal needs,
away for
obviously.
what?
Like, well,
Wait, put
if you're making, I don't know, enough money, like I don't know, let's say for example, both sides are making, I don't know, 100K or something, and the guy is like obviously contributing, his share to the mortgage and this and that, and yet your rationale for not contributing the same, because if you don't contribute the same, then you have some kind of spare money put aside somewhere, right? Why would
On
you?
yourself.
wait. You mean the woman has money, as
No,
in more money put aside?
no, so essentially the premise of this conversation was, I said I don't believe in 50-50 because I think women end up doing more in the relationship. For example, childbirth in itself. Like I said, there is no cost, there's no price that can be attached to that.
Yep.
But like little Isle said, even just the mental load, women are constantly thinking bigger picture, the family's needs naturally, or I don't know if it's natural or not,
A
but
bit
we've
too
been
much credit. I'll be
conditioned.
real.
No, I think,
I think
A
you're not
bit,
giving it
I
enough
mean, it's like
credit.
a bit
even,
too much
I
credit.
actually think you're not giving it enough credit.
wait,
A bit
AJ,
too much credit.
do you think men eat 50% of the food, or the groceries and the food that's being
Nah, probably
bought?
more. We're
Right.
That's
So,
beasts.
so,
five
so
We're
that also
kg
not
bag of
beasts.
50-50.
rice. She's probably going to eat 1 kg bag of rice. You're going to eat
Exactly.
4 kilograms.
I
Right. So
mean, but
that's
like
also
The
that.
not
chicken,
50-50.
she will eat
But it
And
two
seems.
chicken thighs.
But
You've
is it not
eaten six,
antithetical to
seven,
the idea
eight.
of a loving romantic relationship to be counting score in this way?
but it's not counting score. Listen,
But you are the
the
one that's
argument we're
saying
making
50-50.
is that
And
if you
we're
split
saying,
things 50-50, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, go on.
no, you are the one saying, yeah, you believe in 50-50. And I'm saying, no, it actually doesn't work like
It
that.
doesn't work out to be
Oh,
50
so
50
maybe I should clarify. Like, my explanation of the 50-50 in this case would be like, if I'm in a loving relationship, committed relationship with someone, I'm just gonna contribute everything as much as I can. I'm not gonna think about like, oh, you should
So a
contribute
shared
more of
account.
this. Yeah, of course. Like,
Fair
because
enough.
what's like, again, like, if I think we're, again, maybe I'm being a bit idealistic in terms of like, if I meet someone and was getting in that situation, I would see it being like forever or whatever. But like, my counterpoint was like, where else would that money be going? What's the point of having that money outside of this union? Like, there's no point. Like, this is it for me. Like, this is all there is. So the idea that I would now say like, oh, you contribute more than me in this case because you do this more, I do that more. I think the love would just naturally transcend all of that. Like, it would even occur to me like, oh, actually, you're eating more of this thing than I do. The food shop is just the house food shop, and I'm sure you have stuff that you eat that I don't really care for. I'm not really a snacker. I'm not gonna then say like, oh, the snacking bit, I guess you should spend your money on that because you eat all the snacks and I don't. This is not loving. This is not in keeping with the
You know,
theme of a romantic loving relationship, in my view.
usually the person that's not counting is probably the one eating the most and benefit the most. You sound like someone who would eat the most and be like, why are you counting?
I mean,
Why, like, because
I wouldn't say
you
that
know, but
because
then the other person is actually losing out because you're not,
I mean,
I
but
think
then you go, okay, go on, I'll let you finish. Let you finish. Sorry.
I think I like the idea of it that okay, yes, if because you're both doing this together, therefore
Mm,
naturally you'll be contributing
mm,
and nobody will be trying to save or count how much the other person is really contributing. But this is where it leaves space for resentment. I think when it comes to finances,
mm-hmm.
financial contribution, you do need to sit down and count so that it's clear to everybody where money is going to, and you do those because those that is where a lot of the argument can come from,
Okay.
right?
Mm,
Is when it gets to that point where someone is eating more and yet I'm contributing the same, but you are eating more than me. right? The
So I guess
food in the fridge.
the only
We're
things that would
going
be
to
50
Tesco
50 would
every
be
week
like,
to buy stuff.
yeah.
And we bought a packet of 6 yogurts. I only ate one. And I'm going to Tesco to add 50% to buy another pack of 6 yogurt and only eat one.
I don't want to seem like
So
reductive.
it sounds petty, but it literally adds up. You're eating my money.
Yeah.
So
All right,
and
all right,
again
all
to
right,
the
all
Can I
right,
point
make
all
a
right.
where
point, man? Can I make a point, man?
Mutak, let me get you in here.
Yeah. I don't want to seem reductive, but like, I feel like when it comes to this 50-50 type debate, yes, it's true. It's never usually 50-50. Yeah, that's not really how it never really ends up like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like in a loving relationship, like what AJ said, right, eventually it kind of moves towards each other. Like maybe somebody might have a strength in a certain area that they can focus.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? So like, let's say, me personally now, the relationship that I'm in, right? Yeah, I'm more like I'm more the chill type. So like when it comes to like let's say children now, if I'm chilling with them, yeah, usually I feel like that they will be more comfortable to come to me because I'm less likely to shout. I'm more chill like that. So when it comes to like giving heavy news, I'm probably the one for that. You understand what I'm saying? Like some people have strengths in different areas, and I feel like you just compensate for each other. I feel like that's the essence of a 50-50. The 50-50, I don't think the 50-50 should be about finances, etc. I mean, yes, I do get what you're saying when it comes to finances and stuff, but I feel like, okay, let's say that the man focuses on finances. Okay, you're dealing with kids. It could also, that's 50-50. I mean, it could be somebody focuses on that, somebody focuses on this. Maybe the man is the one that's pretty good with kids. Maybe the woman is a breadwinner. He stays at home, deals with the children, does all the other stuff. She does that. It's kind of 50-50. Maybe because she's at work all day getting the money, maybe he might do some house chores, etc.
Yeah.
I feel like the way you guys argue this thing is so reductive in terms of, oh yeah, but like if we buy like 1 kg of rice, 5 kg of rice, you're gonna be eating all. I feel like that's I feel like that's
Modern women,
not
no one is more stingy than them. No one. And
I
I
feel like-
bet Leo, I was also Nigerian. Nigerian women, man, you should already know what they like. You should already know what they like. The funny thing is, yeah, when it comes to, for example, dating, I remember when I was with my second girlfriend, and I was like 21 at the time. Been on like 2 dates, I paid, of course, as you do, which is fine. Okay, the paradigm has shifted successfully in their favor. We'll take that. But then beyond that, I'm like, oh, she isn't. She's Ghanaian. Okay, they've been, West Africa. It's all the same.
same thing.
Five
It's
and
the
six.
same.
5 and 6.
Exactly.
And I said to her, like, if we start, even in the dating stage, right? My philosophy is, if we're going on dates, you have to pay too. Like, I'll do one, you do one, because it's a marker of effort. And you're right. I do think like maybe like Mutak said, excellent point. It's not always gonna be 1-to-1. Like there might even be years. Sometimes like you have a situation where someone goes through a period of unemployment, right? Then one person is paying everything. Like that's all part of the thing. Trying to then count the score and be like, well, I guess if you eat more rice than me, so that means like in almost everything, the man will always consume more just because he's a man. He might.
That's what I
His
find so
clothes are even
insane.
bigger. His clothes are larger by surface area, so is the washing up thing. He has to buy more to contribute more for the detergent. Okay, the food he eats more because he's a man. Like that is just, I don't know. I don't see a loving relationship developing out of that. And if that's the mentality someone is taking into it, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know. Concerning is the wrong word because it's not that serious, but like,
I find it funny. No, because I find it funny because like my dad, as you can imagine, Nigerian man,
Yeah.
very traditionalist. Right, he went through a big period of time where he was actually unemployed, and his wife was actually working as a support worker role and was picking up basically the bunch of the finances. Wow, like that. You know what my dad did as a traditional Nigerian man?
What?
He stayed home with his son. He washed dishes. He made food. He cooked until now. He's up and he's fine now. His wife is back to chilling at home. She does her studies at university, and he covers the finances all over. You get what I mean? I feel like when it comes to this 50-50 thing, you guys are too trying to keep score, which for one, a loving relationship will never work that way. For two, it is a matter of elevating each other and trying to boost each other, if that makes sense.
yeah, even penalize.
Can I ask a question?
Maybe penalize. Okay, go on. I was gonna ask.
If you love somebody,
Yeah.
would you not make sure that they are not overcompensating for you?
Theoretically, I'd say yes. I can
Because
see,
you
I can
wouldn't, it
see where
doesn't
you're
feel
going.
nice.
I can see where you're
Yeah,
going.
because it wouldn't make me feel comfortable if, I can see that someone is overcompensating, overpaying, they're, making more of an effort than I am. And my contribution is not matching up. right? And you use the same argument. Well, in a loving relationship, it shouldn't count. But if you love somebody, you would make sure not to put them in that situation in the first place, right? That they would have to count.
That typically doesn't happen in
Wouldn't you want?
reality. That
No,
that
but
would that doesn't really happen in
wouldn't
reality
you
though.
want? Wouldn't you want to do that?
But does
Because you
that
love the
happen?
person.
But does that really happen in reality though? Because let's say, okay, let's talk from a traditionalist view, right? When a man is paying for everything now, yeah, and the woman is just chilling. This happens quite a bit, actually. Funny enough, in different cultures, especially, right? Yeah, in different cultures. Like for example, now let's say like a Russian culture now. The man pays for everything, and essentially the woman is she literally just be loping around, actually, just spending his money, essentially, right?
Funny
You
words.
you you you'd think that, oh yeah, she'd be like worried, be like, oh, I'm basically just being dead weight right now. I'm not doing, but they actually just don't really care in practice. Like I get what you're saying, idealistically, but like in reality, does that really happen though? No, not really. You understand?
I take the point about someone feeling, and again, maybe that's where my idea of 50-50 comes in, which is like people are just gonna do whatever it takes. So I do see the point, like if, and again, I always tease, when I talk about dating and paying for it and stuff, I was like, if you see a guy like paying for all the dates, don't you just feel ashamed to be like, oh, one time let me even pay for one? I think like, if a girl
I feel like if they
likes you
don't do
enough,
that, they don't
will.
really like you enough.
Exactly. So like I feel
They
like
don't like
people
you enough.
naturally do those things anyway. So maybe little Al, you and I don't disagree so strongly per se in the sense of like, if it's a loving relationship, I guess both sides would just work out exactly what that looks like financially. In a vacuum, I wouldn't see why. Now, when we say 50-50, I guess it doesn't necessarily mean that everything has to be like split down the middle, but just by a combination of love and common sense,
Funny enough, when it comes
everyone
to
would
No,
reach the
I
right
don't, because
agreement.
I think it's not common sense when it comes to money. It's numbers and math that needs to be calculated. It's a logical thing. It's not emotional. So you need to sit down and have an open and honest kind of
Okay,
conversation about your
let
finances
me ask you
and
specifically
make
then.
sure you're
How
contributing.
would you do
Because
that?
I don't think finances is an emotional. I know it can be emotional, but it shouldn't be because I love you type thing, because you're putting yourself in a very, both people up, you're putting yourself in a terrible position
I think you
by.
overcomplicate it. I can't lie. Yeah,
Okay,
I
typically,
don't think it's
wait. All right,
overcomplicated.
all right. Guys, 1 second.
when
Guys,
people,
You're
Musa,
talking
give me
about
1 second.
relationships.
Give
Money doesn't have to be
me,
complicated.
give me
It
one
can be
second.
very simple.
yeah, I agree.
Let's play a thought exercise then. So I'm gonna ask you, little Al. Let's do a thought exercise then, just so people can understand better, for myself, for yourself, for everyone. So you're making 100K. Your boyfriend, Abi husband, shall we call it, is making 100K. Let's start divvying it up then. How would you see it playing out? Let's just we'll just give very generic numbers for the rest of the things, like mortgages, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. How would you see that playing out then in terms of contribution? Give me like specific numbers. You already mentioned obviously men eat more than women. I guess I don't know what
I
else you want to
think
say.
100K is, I think the medium salary, I think in the UK is like
We're
probably
doing a
just
thought
under
exercise. This girl's
40K.
getting
I know it's,
specific about.
but you're
My
going,
God.
yeah, but because you're
We use
talking about
100 as a perfect
finances.
number because it's round.
No,
Let's go
So
with 100.
let's
When
say,
when you do examples, you give a round number. 100 is
yeah.
round.
right,
Let's go with
okay,
100.
okay. Let's say that net each month, you're both bringing in 2K each. £2,000, £2,000.
Okay.
Rent is about 1,400,
Okay.
or let's pick a
It's a
number
thought
that's
exercise. You didn't have to go
easier
that.
to divide. 1,400. So
Exactly.
you're both country
What
contributing
is
about
she
700
doing?
each.
I'm
Okay.
so confused. Okay.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you
So
so
that's
far.
leaving you 1,300
Hey God.
each on each side,
Hey
right?
God.
Yeah. So altogether, that's 1,000. That's 2,600 that you have in a
Oh my.
pot.
Okay. Okay.
So this is for bills, food, transport, right? I think that the man should contribute more towards food.
Okay.
Okay, that's logical.
Logical,
That's logical.
because you people eat with your protein diets, your
Oh,
We
high
know, we
protein
know. It's
diet.
logical. We concede that. We concede that
So
point.
that one, definitely, you
okay.
need to contribute more towards that.
Okay.
Then the lady should have her pot, right? that she can contribute towards makeup, hair, maintenance, that kind of stuff.
That we give her, right?
So
Or she takes that out herself.
no. You don't have to give her that.
Okay, that's
Right.
just
So
her
you
own.
split it up. You, your food, whatever, and then her, And then the odd bits, maybe you guys do gym, so on and so forth. You split that equally. We have different gym membership, whatever. But definitely the food. I'm trying to think what else men consume more.
Now we get
Also,
we get your
wait.
point.
So those things, right? And then the cleaning stuff, equally split.
Okay.
You have to split equally on cleaning products, whatever, regardless of who's cleaning the most. You split that equally, right? So what I'm trying to say is, whatever you are consuming or doing the most of, you should be paying the most, contributing a higher percentage than the other,
Okay,
and
fair
vice
enough.
versa.
Okay,
Fair?
fair enough.
Okay.
Now what I
Yeah.
would say to that is, oh, you want to speak, AJ?
No, I was
So-
gonna say, I was gonna say, like, I guess
so-
that is, to me, that is still a form of 50-50, just like a distinction without difference.
Exactly.
Because you're already cancelling it
Aha.
out.
It's still
It's
50-50.
50-50, but it's equitable, right?
Okay.
That's where equitable is like, it is.
So
it's equitable.
how would you
That's where it's fair.
how would you in your situation account for how much more than if the food budget every month is £500? How would you account for like what portion someone should be paying more than the other one?
Because you can even see it, like what someone is eating.
So you plan to
Like
measure
when
how
you-
much? Oh my god!
No, it's not even measure.
I thought it was only Ghanaian men that are stingy.
No,
It's
see,
quite-
yeah.
I thought it was only Ghanaian men.
No.
Jesus
No, Ghanaian men are very
Christ!
stingy. That's where I
I-
learned it.
I-
Ghanaian women
No,
too.
but honestly, if you do it this way, right, and you split these, it will stop all that like arguing, and also the thing that happens where people don't talk, but they annoyed about something, but they don't bring it up because they don't want to be petty, but it's annoying them. But then maybe they'll bring it out in other ways, and you're like, why is this girl irritated?
I think that's a
Really,
different
she's
issue
annoyed
in of
because you
itself.
keep So if you sort this out, I promise you it makes things a lot, because then each person feels like, okay, it's fair, and I feel like I'm being covered. Yes, where it's fair. So then you can focus about fighting about other things rather than
Okay.
I
building
don't think-
resentments
okay.
about this thing.
I don't think that. Okay, that might work for you, but for the general public, I think that's too much for the general
think so?
public. Nobody is doing all of that. Okay, low key measuring who's eating the most. Nobody's
No,
doing-
it's not measuring who's eating the most. I'm just saying visually you can see it's obviously that. I don't
Okay,
even
great.
need to. I know
Okay,
that
great.
you eat. You
Alright.
probably eat more than I do.
Okay, great. Okay, what I would say to that, what I would say to that is that most people don't do that day, and the way that I think people that do 50-50, which I think I agree with, is that okay, breadwinner usually pays rent because that's the most biggest expense. Okay, one person may pay groceries altogether. One person may pay cleaning credits. Like they don't do this type of cleaning products 50-50.
No, we're talking about two people. We were talking
Wait,
about two people earning the same thing. Sorry.
I was gonna get Abby in here because Abby's been. Abby, yeah, it's AB. I didn't even know it's assuming it's Abby. I didn't even know. Let me be waiting patient. Let me get her in here before I go back to curate. This is fascinating stuff. Abby, you have the floor.
Yes, AB. It's
AB.
AB. Thank you. I kind of get what Isla is trying to say. I think what she's more so talking in terms of like the 50-50 concept is more so of, even if obviously not that your partner is a roommate, but in essence they are a roommate. It's just there's a romantic relationship to that, right? Obviously. So I'm not saying that it should be as strict and as rigid as you may have with a roommate, where as a roommate you might have a contractual obligation. You don't be late on your half of the rent. There's a certain level of grace you wouldn't give a roommate that you would potentially give someone who you're in closer relationship with, right? Now, that being said, it's a very logical thing to dissect finances in a realistic way, especially when you're in a romantic relationship, because there might be more levels of grace you're going to give someone that may or may not put you in a compromising situation later on. So that being said, if you are doing 50-50, which I look at it from a more equitable perspective of each person may be bringing in a certain amount of money, right? even if that money isn't the same, I think everyone in the household should be contributing to every aspect of the household. Meaning everyone in the household should be contributing to groceries and food because everyone in the household is contributing groceries and food. Now, I will say, to the perspective of food, I don't really think it matters who eats more or whatever. However, if you know that you eat in excess to where the food in the house is running out, it is your due diligence to refill that. It's the same way as if, oh, I buy snacks and we say we're going to share them. And you know, I've had maybe 1 or 2 bites out of the snack and you ate all of it. Make sure you replenish it, because that's just a sensible thing to do. Even though we have both equally or percentage wise contributed to, you know what I'm saying, the funds of the groceries. So I think that's more so what she's trying to say is like, obviously, if you eat a lot, you will notice that, oh, food is running out a lot faster. And if you are the person who doesn't eat as much, you'll be like, wait, I'm spending all this money on food that I'm not really eating because I'm not eating that much. You get what I mean? So it's not even particularly like, oh, measuring what someone, you know, does. But if you are the partner, because it could be the woman that eats more, like that does happen. That is a dynamic. But if you are the partner that's using things more, that is eating more, or is doing whatever, you need to replenish that based off of your use. So if, for example, you use majority of the toilet paper on a consistent basis, you should replenish that. I'm just using it as an example because I feel like it's
Just be
you know, every day, like, you know what I mean. But I feel like you should have the nice thing about being in a relationship, right, is having that consideration for your partner. I think with 50-50, it's a reasonable thing to look at your finances and break that down and be like, okay, what contribution are we both looking at? What consistency do we think will need something? Because perfect example, somebody can be like, oh, let's split a gym membership. I don't go to the gym though. I'm not splitting it with you because I don't go to the gym. You feel me? But then some people might be like, oh, well, it's 50-50, so we should split everything. And so it's more so of like, if you know, even with the food thing, I think that if I live in a house, there's going to be food in the house, whether you're there or not. So I'm going to still contribute to food regardless, because the food will be in the house whether you're here or not. If you go on a trip for 3-4 days, I'm not going to come and say, I don't want you to come home and be like, oh, well, give me $30 because I wasn't here. Like, you get what I mean?
So what do you stand on? That I think the distinction here is, and again, I think the way you said it, and you know, if Lil I was agreeing with that, that obviously is sensible. That to me is how I see 50-50. Like everyone's gonna be balancing out eventually. Where do you stand on the specific argument that women make that because they are responsible for more emotional labor, as they call it, the man, they should be compensated for that financially, so the man should be in turn paying more or something? That to me is what I was. I mean, that's kind of how we're curious and I started. That was she was basically saying like, if she has to give birth, that's a very significant thing, therefore she's implying that it's a financial compensation, which I was like, I'm not sure about that. Where do you stand on that?
I get that. I do feel like, you know, because childbirth is something that cannot be replicated and is like, you know what I'm saying, a circumstance of life where, yes, the monetary aspect of it gets shifted, you know, from the woman's perspective. If you are a man who can do it, yes, pay me for my labor. Like, if you can do it, do as you please.
Is that like a
I don't think
payment,
that
or is
it's a
that like
requirement though.
Is that like a one-off, like?
No, every child that you implant, there is a payment that goes.
No, so I'm saying like,
it just depends on your requirement.
As in, like, for every child you guys get pregnant, I don't know. Do you pay on delivery, or do you pay on? Do you pay on conception? When do you?
No, you pay. It's like a job. Like, you pay bi-weekly, monthly, whatever you want to do. Like, you know, because you might say, oh, for 9 months, but maybe the baby come at 8 months. I don't know. Like, pay.
Wait, I'm actually asking this specifically. So this is gonna be like a one-time payment per child.
Yeah, I'm being serious. Not one-time payment per child. Because what if the pregnancy was really hard? Now we need to increase the hourly rate. But if the pregnancy was,
what is going on?
I'm so lost because I swear childbirth is like a decision between two people.
I'm gonna tell you this too.
If you went through pregnancy, I kid you not, you would want payment for what you went through.
Yeah, but you guys know what you. Okay, I don't want to seem like
no. Wait, before you.
Yeah, I don't want to be abrasive. I'm gonna give a warning because I'm probably gonna be abrasive.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I'm probably gonna be abrasive, right? Yeah, but I swear pregnancy is a decision between two consenting adults.
Sure. What does that have to do with the
like, and like, how do I put it? Like, any normal couple would probably look through the risks, and
Okay, so
everybody
Well,
they know
let
what
me
they're
just
going
taking
let
the
me
through.
just wait,
risk.
wait, wait.
Mhm.
Aisle, let me just cut you right there, right? So number one, when it comes to
It was
pregnancy,
actually Mutak
right?
that said that. It's the guy that said that, not the girl,
Pregnancy,
by the way.
oh, pregnancy is not something that you can search up the risks of pregnancy online and you know what risk of your specific pregnancy will be. Number one. Number two, there are like life-threatening things that even happen on labor that may not happen throughout the duration of the pregnancy. Number two, there are specific things that happen throughout pregnancy that endanger both mother and child that are solely dependent on the man and the man's sperm. So when we talk about pregnancy and the risks, yes, we can have generalized risks like linked to pregnancy, but not everybody who's pregnant loses their sight. We can agree to that, right?
Yeah,
But there are a
yeah.
considerable amount of women who lose their sight, lose their ability to walk, lose their ability to do a lot of things, and
To
have
think,
like,
to
come on, let's
think,
just
to
yes.
remember
You would be
things.
comfortable having a financial agreement with your husband in which
Absolutely,
he pays you
absolutely,
for every child you
It
have.
wouldn't be. I let me say
absolutely.
this. I don't think it's a requirement. I would not say it's a requirement. I can, but what I'm saying is I can understand men who do pay their wives or do have big push presents
I
to
can
their wives
understand.
who do
I
that.
know their tact. I know their
I mean,
tactic like mad.
the, what? No, it's not
I
even
can
that.
understand.
I'm being a
Yeah,
whole
okay.
100%. It's like saying that, oh, as a man, you see a woman who pays for her man's schooling, like pays for
No,
her
no.
man going back to
As
school.
as a present, like a push gift, as in like we did this amazing thing together. That is completely separate from what you
Who?
described.
Wait, wait,
You
wait,
were
It's
wait,
you were
wait.
not we.
describing
It's
a
Wait,
not
wait,
fixed
wait.
we.
sum
Who
We.
is
per
It's not a
we?
child.
we.
Who
That
is
is
Yeah,
wait?
who
No,
is
completely
who
there is
is
please take
who
that
is
back.
we? Who is
sorry. What?
genuine
I
question?
did
Who
it.
is we?
Who's
Me,
we?
myself,
Who's we?
and
What? Sorry.
I, and my
No,
God.
because the act of the push gift, right? We said push gift, right? The act
Well, as
of
in
the
like we had
pushing
a
is not
child
a
together. As in like we had a child.
sure.
Yeah, I
The
mean we
gift
didn't
is
have it
the
together.
child.
Now he's always
But the joint gift of us both doing something together is the thing that's there, the child, right? But the push gift is not that we did something together. It's the fact that I was able to carry the pregnancy to term
okay.
and give you a child. Yeah,
That's a semantic. I wasn't saying like I
and
push a
we can
child out.
say so. Yeah, 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 yeah.
My point is the idea that you would be compensated monetarily as like an agreement for every child you have because of how tasking childbirth is. That doesn't again
Mm-hmm.
seem consistent with a romantic loving relationship, in my view.
How so?
I don't know what's romantic. You keep bringing romance, romance, romance. I don't know
No, but
what you're talking about.
great question is how is that? I have a question, right? Like,
Mhm.
how is that not particularly romantic in the sense of you
Mhm.
as a man? Because I'm not saying it from a requirement perspective. I'm saying it from a man choosing to do that and the woman agreeing to him choosing to do this behavior is as a man, he understands that, oh yeah, let's just say the woman is working. I know that my wife has now had to not work because of course she's pregnant. Maybe it is a high risk pregnancy. This is a child that we really wanted. And even though I know she's going to literally have to sacrifice time, body, and a lot of things that I don't particularly have to sacrifice. I'm like, you know what, babe? I'm going to replace the salary that you're missing out on being pregnant by paying you out of choice and thankfulness that you have decided to carry my child.
Our
How
child,
is that not
our
romantic?
child, not my our child. Yeah, okay.
Our child.
Yes,
How
our
is that
child.
not essentially romantic? But again, this is two willing participants that have agreed to this. I don't understand how that's
I
not.
mean, I see. I'm just trying to think about a world in which you love someone and you're like, this makes sense. I just don't see it. This sounds like a
So are you
financial
saying that the
agreement
man?
that's born like someone said pejoratively in the comments. How much is the womb then? How much?
How is the what?
Tell
How much
Yeah,
is the
someone
what?
said in the comments.
but wait,
How much is the womb
but
then? How much are we paying for this? Just give me a number up
You know
front
how
before we
much
start.
people are. You know how
Then
much
we go
people are
into
charging
like the
surrogates?
financial. Now we start negotiating how much you think. Oh, because now we're comparing it to surrogacy and saying,
but
well,
it does, it does,
if they're
it
paying
does have a
surrogates
price.
20K for a pregnancy, you pay me
Who's
10.
paying
Is
20K?
I'm just an example again,
Oh
guys.
yeah,
Please,
yeah,
can we
yeah.
come on?
Okay,
If
it's quite
I pay fifty
objectifying to put
percent
a
of that,
price on this type of thing, though. Let's be honest.
sorry.
It's quite objectifying to put like a price on this type of
This is
thing, to be
completely
honest.
No,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's not objectifying. It really isn't because there is a price. If we live in a capitalist society,
okay,
everything has
what
a
okay,
price.
what is
Everything
the
has
price
Now
then?
we're
everything has a
capitalizing
monetary
love. Oh,
price.
these people are
Can
so
I?
Okay,
crazy.
okay,
It,
okay,
All
okay.
right, wait,
Wait,
sorry, Mutak, one second. Let me get Curate back in here. Like she started this whole fiasco. Thank you, Curate. This is what you've started. I hope you're happy. We're not talking
That's why I
about
thought maybe
pricing
I should.
pregnancies. This is completely ridiculous.
I didn't say we should price.
I know. I'm not saying you used to. I'm just teasing you. I'm not saying you said this specifically. Go on.
That's fair. I just feel like men are very manipulative. Even you, Adrian.
Okay, you can't start like that. What?
Oh, what? Your
What?
thought was about to you guys thought was about to be objective.
Oh my
Nah.
god.
You thought
Because
we were
look at
bad.
how
That's
quick
such
they
a
are. Look at how
subjective thing
quick.
to say.
Look at how quick they are to sell the romance. Oh, aren't we in love? Aren't we?
Right.
Lord
Your
of
What
Jesus.
vagina
about
is being
romance?
ripped from your vagina to your
Oh
anus. I don't
my
think
lord.
anyone is thinking about love in that moment. And then I have a theory. This is a personal, shameless theory.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that as a person, especially for women, you need to be. I call it being market ready. I think at every point in time, because I ultimately okay. My premise is I think you should be ready for your partner to walk away from you at any given point, and you should be fine.
I
Okay,
agree.
valid.
Yeah, we
That's
all
valid.
agree.
Yeah.
We all
We all
agree.
agree. And part of preparing your mind on is you have to be market ready. So if you're gonna put me on the bench, we need to calculate that too. I mean, that's slightly superficial, but I personally think if we're gonna be in a 50-50 partnership where we're both working, we're both high earners, and we're both overachievers, and we're doing XYZ, that's fantastic. Then we just outsource the pregnancy to a surrogate, and then we don't even need to go back and forth.
I mean,
That's what
at this point, why don't we just have a government baby factory in which we all submit our womb, our sperm, and our
I mean,
eggs, and
I mean, they
they
used
just
to
bring us
have
the
that.
baby, just bring us
that
the
would
baby
be.
later. These
I'll
people are
be pro. I think
crazy.
a lot of
These
no.
people
I
are
think a lot of
crazy.
women.
You
No,
guys are
AJ,
insane.
because you don't understand what it's like to give birth.
No,
Like
No,
I mean,
you don't.
women
know
women
what
have
Your
been
it's
giving
hair,
like.
birth before.
If
your
somebody
hair.
You've both
Wait,
else
wait,
told
can
me
do
sorry,
that
it,
though.
ladies.
you
Sorry,
would.
ladies. Your like even just the average pregnancy, your hair falls out, you gain weight, you have loose skin, you have like there's just and it physically ages you. Like it physically ages for what?
My point
For
isn't
math.
that. My point is that we both chose to go through this. And yes, you are taking the
What do you
front.
You
mean
keep saying
both?
we're
Okay,
going through
wait,
this. Only one
wait a
person is
second.
going through it.
Yeah, okay, and you chose to
Yeah.
go along with it.
That's an insane thing to say. So my question to you is this, right? So if your wife at the end of the pregnancy gets preeclampsia, are you going to then say through that experience that
Even
that was
even
good for
even
you?
me even me wanted to put my wife through that. Yeah, I will. I'm not joking when I tell you. Yeah, if she says that she's never having a child, I am okay with that. Go and adopt. It's
But my
fine.
point is, what if you don't get the chance to say she's not having enough? That's what you're not understanding with
Again?
the severity of what we're talking about. You may not have the chance to tell her if you don't want another baby, you don't have to. You might not have the chance to
You're
say
not
that. What
understanding
if
what I'm
she
saying.
doesn't? Because
I'm
uh
saying
huh.
that I'm saying I'm okay with her saying that we don't have to have them at
And
all.
what I'm telling you is, what if she does not make it through that pregnancy and then you don't have the chance to even say? That's what I'm saying. Yes, both people take the
I'm not even
risk,
saying that.
but people don't under.
I'm saying that chances are I'm not gonna tell her. In fact, I'm not gonna tell her that we're gonna have them at all. If she wants to bring up that topic, that's her prerogative. But I promise you, when I tell you, if it's me and her, I will never bring up that. Oh yeah, do you want to have a baby with? Nah.
I'll be honest as well. I think, and again, this is gonna sound crazy, but if you look at the number of childbirths we have, and we've had them obviously through history, even when we had like no healthcare and stuff, this hyperfixation on these extreme cases, especially we live in Western societies, extreme cases of people's vaginas falling out and their eyes falling. This hyper, like it's like I think it's like an angle of online feminism in my view. That's my theory.
Wait, extreme?
This is all part of. They are extreme cases. I think a lot of people have children and are fine. Like that's just facts. I don't know why you're quick with that.
What are we
choosing-
defining as fine though?
Yeah, what
I
do
mean,
you
they have a
is
healthy
But the
pregnancy and they
reality,
go through it.
AJ, regardless of how
But the
fine you
majority,
are,
Those
someone,
cases are on the
sorry.
margins. Like, let's be
yeah,
honest.
but as
But
Those cases
somebody
are
AJ,
on the
that
I'm
is
margins.
so
in,
sorry, I'm so sorry. Regardless of
okay.
how fine you are, you'll never go back to how you were before.
What does that mean?
Well,
how you
yeah.
were before childbirth. You'll never go back to that again.
As in, you never go back to not having a child. I don't get it.
No, like the way your body, the way your mind, the way everything worked before
Yeah, your
having a
mind changes
child.
because now you have a
That
child.
happens.
Yes.
That
Yes,
Yeah.
even
happens
This is
your
not
to
like
body,
a.
any.
the way
That
your
happens to
body
any like.
changes.
That,
That
no, but that
physical
happens to
change
any
cannot be.
milestone. That
Yeah. This
happens
is.
to
I
any
don't. I don't
like.
think that's a. Yeah. That's a particularly
I love how
spectacular.
men are just here
Can
trying to tell women how to feel about childbirth. I love
yeah.
it. Please continue.
Can I
No,
can I
we're
say
not.
Muta,
something?
We're
Even
not
tell me
even
doing
with
that though.
more.
even with a like, I just want to put you in a just like in a scenario just
Yep.
to put you in the shoes of a woman, of a very healthy woman who's given birth,
Yeah.
right? And you go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that you're sitting there and you're going to do a task for work, and then your brain literally goes blank, and you can't for a moment remember what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's you would consider that person is someone you'd consider normal, right? She's normal after childbirth. But then the anxiety of going back to work
Mm-hmm.
and your brain is not really working the way it used to. I'm not saying
Your
like
brain's not
all women,
working the
but
way
this
it
is very
used to.
common. Yeah, actually, AJ, yeah,
What?
yeah.
What?
Your brain is not
What does
working the
that
way it used
mean,
to. And
guys?
a huge one
Oh
is
my
memory.
lord.
Because of sleep deprivation, it has a significant impact on your memory, right? And the changes in your hormones. So you now have to find a whole new way, whole new different way to cope with forgetfulness, right? As you adjust back to work. So that's one example of this is a healthy person who's had a healthy pregnancy,
They just
who's
regularly. They
delivered
just
and
regularly
able
forget
to
stuff.
go to work. Yeah, this happens a lot. When they say mom brain, it's not a joke.
I
You'll be
mean,
talking and then your brain literally
I thought the
goes
scientific
blank
I've
theory is
never
that
heard that
women are
science
because
fact.
heightened because now they have to look after a
you've not
child,
because
and they're a lot
you've
more.
this is the thing. If you are a man and you want to have children,
Mhm.
take a minute, either spend time with women who've had babies and try to understand the experience, because it will you need to be empathetic during that time
Hey, good
if
point,
your
Bahir.
partner, your wife is going through that, because no, because you are basically the way the economy, you're going to be probably the only person that your wife has to lean on. And if you cannot empathize and you do not understand what this thing is like, you're gonna have a difficult
I mean,
time
What's your
adjusting
main
to.
point?
not
What's your
empathizing.
main
That's a
point
completely
here
different
Because
then?
no,
thing.
no, because you're
That's not what we're
saying it's
doing.
no, it's
I'm just
I'm
quibbling with the fact
gauging
that
your
again,
response
I
to
think
me
online.
saying
You go on.
for healthy women, a lot of them, it literally has an impact on your brain
But,
to the
see, but
extent where you forget
Oh,
no,
I
things.
no,
wait.
but
Can we really
wait,
quick?
wait,
So
guys, hold on,
this
hold on.
is even
As Bahir pointed out,
even when
give me 1 second. As Bahir pointed out, this is the kind of things they say to women that someone might say that doesn't want women to continue normal lives after. Yes, your brain is now different. So when you were senior manager before, now you can't come back to be senior manager because, oh wow, you can't work the same. Again, you guys are picking extreme examples to justify, actually, when you think about it in the opposite sense, actually quite a sexist position that, oh my god, we just become less women, as in like as smart as all that stuff we used to have before. We just become less of
wait,
that. And so because of that, we actually can't, well, we need to be compensated. That's not a
Wait,
good argument. This is a bad argument.
AJ, wait,
really
let me
quickly.
say something.
Go
Wait,
on.
hold on. I think that you don't understand how much the coping strategies that women put in place so that they appear normal to people like you, AJ. When they go back to work,
People like
you see
you.
them as normal, but they've actually put some coping strategies in place so that they appear normal to you, but really they're having to do a lot of work behind the
Yes,
scenes
I'm
that
not
you're
saying
not
it's
seeing
easy. I'm not saying like,
or
oh, when you have a child, it's a piece of
appreciating.
cake or like
So,
breastfeeding is a
but
piece.
no,
I'm not saying that.
but I'm not saying that because I think that like this is what makes women incredible, right? Is the fact
Right.
that they can go through this experience, go back to work, and for you make it look easy.
No one's saying it's
For people like
no one's saying
you,
easy. I
make
think
it
you
look
guys are
like
trying
it's
to
a
use it.
doddle.
You guys are trying to use this to
Who's you
justify.
guys?
You guys are both of you actually. Both of you are pretty
Who's you guys? I haven't said
consistent.
anything in regards to what
Oh,
right
you
now.
haven't?
she's
I can't see.
I
I can't see
literally
whose
haven't
name.
It's
said
been
anything
me.
yet.
I can't see whose
So
name
She hasn't
is.
added
I'm
her.
just
Whose
saying
name
this
is
right now.
okay.
Yo,
Sorry.
AJ, I told you that this would get tense, bro.
Maybe you're right.
This is tense.
I underestimate. No, not like this. This is child's play compared to some of the lives I've had. Tackle. We had quite a few people on stage earlier. Anyway, Leo, I guess you haven't said anything in a while. Do you want to say something about this? I mean, I think we're losing
Maybe.
the thread of the. We started
Yeah,
off
we're
talking
getting
about
off
good men and good
topic.
women. Yeah, we get
Yeah.
massively.
No.
Sometimes.
What I was
So go on. Yes.
no. What I was basically gonna say is like I'm not even
Sorry.
specifically talking about the mental, like, because with the mental capacity we can argue a lot of things, and there's a lot of
Thank you, buddy.
there's a lot of factors that tie into the mental capacity outside of like specific like postpartum like psychotic or psychological issues directly. There are certain, because there are certain women who technically their bodies and their minds are just not meant to have children. They're very unstable to have children, and it's a very small number, but there are women who are like that, right? But in terms of talking about things that we
Krishan
can
Rock, I'm
like
looking at you.
but there are some things that we can wholeheartedly say that, like, for example, from the like biological perspective of how dangerous, like, what I'm saying, like certain pregnancies are, or pregnancy as a whole. A lot of things that I feel like, again, pregnancy is very oversimplified in society. It's also a large part of that is because it is a natural human process, which all majority of women who are quote unquote normal, I don't like to use that term, but for the lack of better words, like like normal women are all technically capable of having children, right? And so from that perspective, it's like, oh, your bodies are made to do X, Y, and Z. However, simultaneously, I don't particularly, the reason why I don't agree to that in essence is because pregnancy is a parasitic relationship, right? Which means that no, that's like biological.
I mean, it
Literally
is.
what it
Yes,
is. Like,
it is. To be
I know. I already just know where she's going. I just don't love this. Anyway, go on.
And what I'm saying, and what I'm saying from that is more so from a medical perspective, because I'm going to med school for like obstetrics and gynecology specifically. So so medically it is called a relationship. I'm not talking about it socially, where the mother or the host, quote unquote, is consistently being drained of nutrients and is not getting anything in return, which is why anemia, severe anemia as a pregnancy symptom is very common, which is why a lot of side effects are very common within pregnancy, because you are literally giving away your healthiness.
What is the point you're trying to make? Like, no one dispute. Like,
so the
all
point
animals
I'm
do
trying,
this. This is not like spectacular.
so not all animals, but regardless, what I'm saying is not, well, sure, but then also mammals do not take over a year or 2 years to have their children to be able to stand on their own. Mammal babies that are born are able to be, so what I'm saying is pregnancy is very oversimplified in society. What I was saying earlier was that I'm not saying that men should pay their, like, it should be a requirement that men should pay their wives for having babies. That's not what I was saying. What I was literally saying was, if a man decides that while his wife is pregnant, he decides that I want to cover the cost that you are not incurring because you are pregnant with our child, and out of the love I have for you, I do not want you to lose on that income. That is a romantic thing to do, and I can understand a man choosing to do so because it comes from a level of care. But I'm not saying that any man who decides to have a child with his wife or with his girlfriend or with whoever should have to pay her for having that child, because at the end of the day, it is a mutual decision. At the end of the day, I will also say that mutual decision to have a child does not mean that you mutually agree to the complications that come with it, because you literally don't know either. So it's not as simple, but
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but that's
I'm
what
sorry,
I'm saying.
but like,
You absolutely do know pregnancy is an inherently gruesome
Yeah.
process. No
wait.
child is asking to be born.
I wanna.
So when you sign up to be pregnant,
I wanna reply to what she's saying.
Give me 1 second. Let me let the new guest. We're getting more Americans, and we're hearing a lot of American accents. I love that. I'm going across the continent. This is beautiful. Continue, please.
LOL. Yeah. Maybe I was sitting in the comments trying to understand, how we arrived to, discussing pregnancy.
Good point. Because one of my guests earlier, we were talking about good men and good women, because there's an article that was written about the fact that a lot of women are complaining about the fact that there are no good men left. And then she just mentioned, they started talking about what makes a good man and what makes a good woman. And she just mentioned that she believes, like, like part of what makes a good man is like X, Y, and Z. And then she just mentioned offhand, like, she doesn't believe, like, relationships should be like split down the middle. That's how we kind of got into. Because then she said, like, women should be compensated for the emotional or physical labor that they provide in a relationship more than men. And one of the examples she gave was childbirth. then we go into this whole rabbit hole of like
Oh,
of
okay. I'm even getting background. So okay.
yeah. So maybe I should bring the conversation back to what I wanted to talk about initially. I
We
think
should
that might be
we should
good.
probably just quickly finish up on this topic so we can get back to the main one.
Okay, so for part of what we do here is you rove around a lot, so that is part of the fun of it. Okay, let's you're right. Let's do about 5-6 minutes, maybe actually a couple of responses on this, and we'll go back to now. I can ask the questions I actually wanted to ask, especially now that we have the Americans in here. They always have a lot to say about good men and bad men, don't they? All right, Taco Bell, I'll let you continue about your position on pregnancy being inherently, etc., etc.
Sure. I mean, I do think pregnancy is an inherently parasitic relationship, and I think that women have the ultimate choice, who they choose to partner with, who they choose to bore their children to. So it is your job to find a man who is going to properly accommodate you and supply you with everything you need should you choose to bear his child. However, I'm hearing a lot of victimization on this panel from the women. We all know pregnancy is inherently parasitic. We all understand that in many ways, pregnancy is inherently gruesome. So you choosing to do this, knowing that no child asked to be here, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, that choice falls on your shoulders, the partners you choose and whether you choose to bear children or not. I'm kind of confused by the discourse that's being had.
All right, let me get Mutak to say a last word on this, and I'll do a last word, and we'll move on.
Yeah. Okay. I do agree. I do agree with what AB is saying. Yes, the relationship is inherently parasitic, and yes. But what I would say is I also agree with what Taco is saying. Right. That we like, yes, there are some unseen complications, but those complications are usually specific to the person. That's why you speak to the doctor. The doctor checks for any complications with the baby. You check with a maternal doctor the entirety of the way through your pregnancy. They specifically check things for you because obviously every pregnancy is different, right? That's why you have a doctor that will check through things the entire way. So I do really think so when they say that, oh, unseen complications, that's rare. That are completely unseen the entirety of the time you are meeting your doctor through the entirety of the process. The doctor didn't see anything through all the checkup, didn't see anything, and then once you're on that table and you're giving birth, there's a complication. Very rare in this modern society, right?
Maybe
I would
you
say
should
that.
from the
Yeah,
UK.
I would also say that those type of complications are less common, especially when the pregnancy is planned, as in the woman and the man. Because I want to be clear. The male sperm actually, it means a lot. Yeah, if the person's exercising, they're eating well, they're eating enough protein. The sperm yeah. I'm not saying. Okay, no, I don't want to demean or be reductionist about you guys'
No,
part.
but you are right. You're right.
Yeah,
Continue.
yeah,
Continue
yeah,
what you're
yeah.
saying.
The man, when the pregnancies are planned, that's typically when the least complications happen, and it barely anything goes wrong. So what I would say here is that if how do I pull it? If you are irresponsible and the pregnancy is unplanned, I feel like that falls on both of your heads. And if it's planned now, then you both planned it out, and you guys are happy with what's going on. There's going to be least complications, so we don't need to worry about all these other things that we're all talking about, all these hypotheticals and worst case scenarios, etc. If you understand what I'm saying.
We're gonna have to leave it there.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to what I was talking about earlier, especially now that I'm American. So the last thing I'll say on this, and again, no one can respond to me because it's my show, is that I do think there is a online feminism angle, which I maintain what I said earlier before. A lot of these, hype and obsession with these extreme rare cases, a lot of women think they're doing some kind of feminist job here to try and say, are you guys not alarmed by how terrifying this thing that's been happening for hundreds of thousands of years that every other animal, well, most mammals do? Are you guys alarmed by all these minor cases where things go really, really badly wrong? That would be a bit like if someone wanted to, they could start posting videos daily or whatever of car accidents and how gruesome they can be, how often they can be. And someone's like, are you not alarmed by driving a car? Don't you see how dangerous this is? Yes, things can happen when you drive a car. Once you get in a car, there is a risk that yes, someone can hit you. You can be even doing all the best thing you can, and unfortunately things can happen. But this hype, I think, is completely manufactured by an interesting segment of people online who see it as part of this new feminism wave to even kind of partly dunk on women who don't think that they should be financially compensated for having a child. Part of that is going to be like, oh wow, look at you just don't understand how bad it is. Look at you, your pick me or your male presenting, blah 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 blah. I can even see a word in which tackle what you said about a lot of women, like kind of like presented as a victim. If you said that on X, unless you're a big enough account, I promise you, do you get hundreds of comments, people calling you a pick me or calling you some pejorative stuff because you actually insist that people have a choice in this. And yes, part of the parasitic or complicated relationship is things that, yes, we are aware of and we've known for as long as we've existed. This idea that now, even though people have been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years before, yes, of course, even when there was no medicine, there was no etc., there were complications, and this was just baked into the process. We don't like to see it. And now we live in very, very developed societies where, yes, these complications are extremely rare. This is a fact. But now, not hyping that up enough in the way that you see on some corners of TikTok or the internet is now somehow you're minimizing and not, it's giving enough credence to how, strenuous or stressful or, whatever the process might be. Anyway.
Can I have a moment to be clear?
You cannot have a moment to be clear, unfortunately.
What?
All right, let's go back to the official thing we were talking about earlier. Now, I'll start off again by saying I started talking about
He's an asshole.
The availability of good and bad women. I told you guys I'm not gonna that's the last word we're gonna say because we have to go back to our conversations. I don't know why you're surprised. If you want to have a respectfully, you can have a moment to be clear, make a video about it or something. All right. Men and women, the availability of good and bad women. So there was an article that came out, which I'm going to try and find. It is behind a paywall, unfortunately, so you guys can't just go and read it. Unless you want to pay, I think it was $4 a month or something. It was talking about the good man shortage. And I'm sure a lot of you on the stage have seen women complain about the fact that there's just not a lot of good men. Sometimes you see men talking about that, but people generally just say like, "Oh, the dating pool's terrible," and it's, "Oh yes, someone has a camera on." This is so refreshing. Oh, thank God. I always feel like I'm just talking to myself like a lunatic. I should encourage, actually, if you want to come on stage, to the extent that you can have your camera on, do try to. It just makes it more fun and engaging. Just not for me, just also for the people that are watching as well. And so I reflected on what it means to be a good man or a good woman. Now, again, you usually hear women complain about it. So this live was primarily for them. And the question I wanted to ask is that, why do you think there's a lack of good men? So obviously intrinsic in that is that you're going to define what you think a good man is, at least romantically. And then you also give me your opinion on why exactly you think there is a shortage of this men. And we'll do like a radio show. If you're new here, that's kind of how I do it. So like I'll ask you a few questions back and forth just to get your take on it, make it full. And then, get the next person, get their take, etc., etc. Sometimes we have a little debate, if there are multiple people on the stage. So this is a bit smaller than my usual lives are. So maybe we can have a bit of a longer conversation about it. But generally speaking, if I ask you a question, it would be nice if you get to the point pretty soon and quickly, just so because it's more entertaining that way, and reflect on the fact that like someone's gonna have to respond to you, or I might have to ask you a follow-up question, so you don't have to get everything in there, in one go. If I feel like I want to ask you a follow-up, I will just ask that, and we'll get more of a fuller conversation. That being said, AB, since you have a camera on, I'm gonna give you preferential rights on this. Why do you think there's a lack of good men? I guess there's a loaded question there. Do you think, let's start with, do you think there's a lack of good men? Let's start with that.
I will say yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. So let's go into the yes element. Why do you think there is a lack of good men?
I think there is a lack of good men because there is a lot of access to things. Men are getting a lot of access to things they don't particularly deserve for bad behavior that they exhibit. Okay. And the reason why I said no was because I feel like majority of all men have the full capability to be good men. Okay. A majority of men are good to a specific woman. Now that woman, yeah, you get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I'm kind of like yes and no, because the thing is that there is one man that can be not a good man for a specific woman. And then there is a woman that's like, that's a good man because he has the capabilities of doing the behavior that a good man can exhibit, but he's just not doing it for that woman. And the reasoning might not particularly be tied to the woman herself, but it can be tied to maybe the place that he is in life, his like, where he's at, whether he even is in a position where he wants to be in a committed relationship, or even is serious about his life in general. So that's why I say yes and no, because there is, I think on both sides, a lack of good people and people who actually take being in a relationship serious. Even think about what compatibility and longevity looks like in general. A lot of people are getting into relationships for consistent easy access to schmecks.
Mm.
Like that's like low key what a lot of people are getting into relationships for. At least I would say nowadays, but I wouldn't say that it's a solid yes or no. That's why.
So when, I don't know if I misheard you, but when you said in your answer earlier, you said there is a woman that a lot of men would be good to. Are you referring to something that's like there's like this idealized woman like a lot of men would like, and if they could get that woman, they'll be good to? Was that just like did I just misunderstand how you said that?
What I was saying was like there is a woman that basically like every man has a
Oh,
woman
as a
that he
woman,
will be
yeah,
good
yeah,
to
yeah,
if
yeah.
he
Oh, yeah,
can
right,
get.
right, right, right. I see.
That's what I was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
But like also I feel like men do have a perspective of what a good or like a wife looks like for them. Even if they're not at the position where they want to have a wife, they know what they think they want a wife to be in essence, in concept, even potentially by look, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But when they find that woman, there's going to be additional things that add on to the reason why they want to be with them long term, but they have a general grasp of like, this is the woman I will eventually want to marry.
That is an excellent answer. I think that's kind of more or less how I saw it as well. Like you said, for every person there is someone out there for you. Like that's kind of how I saw it. And so if you don't find that person, it would seem to me like everyone else is going to look bad. Or if you find someone that's not quite like compatible for you, you might start saying, "Oh, this person's really, really bad, and all these men are really horrible." But maybe just not for your type. They're just not for you.
Yeah.
So if you keep on looking that way, I guess I always like to do personal experience in this. So if you don't mind, personally, how would you say you fit? Do you have a very specific, like strict standard of like what you're looking for, and how is that kind of have you found it problematic or troublesome to try and find that in the dating pool? I don't know what state are you from?
I'm from Jersey.
Jersey. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I will say personally, I'm engaged right now, so like I would say it eventually worked out for me, but I will say in terms of like when it came to like certain standards and stuff, I didn't date throughout high school. It just wasn't something like men have never been something that's important or interesting to me in essence, like being in a romantic relationship. And no offense.
Wow.
I think no offense, but I think it was more so like again, like my parents never played emphasis on the role of potentially being married. Like I knew I always wanted to be a wife and I would be a wife, but there was never like, oh, like eventually, like, you know what I'm saying? You have to seek out what it is, like being a girlfriend or a wife or whatever was essentially important. Like it wasn't one of the important things. However, I did have my first boyfriend my senior year of high school, and that relationship ended because I felt like, lack of communication. Now, one thing that, and I went to a private boarding school, so I went to school like 6 hours away. And so that played a role in it. But I think with my things of dating, I always felt like I'm too young for stress. I still feel that way. And so I feel like when you are at a certain age, especially when the things that are important to what you are going to be as a person, especially from teenage to early 20s, I think that is the point where you can date to figure out what exactly a romantic relationship looks like for you. That don't mean sleep around. But what I'm saying is dating to figure out what you like. Now, that also being said, I don't think you should hold on to somebody just to figure out what you like. You shouldn't use somebody as an experiment either. So I'm very much of a person, like, I don't like to repeat myself. It's just my personality. I don't like to repeat myself more than once. So when it came to a relationship, if I feel like I'm continuously repeating myself, I will end the relationship. I'm also the type of person that I do not engage with my exes. So if we break up, we will never talk again for the most part. Like majority of the time, we're never speaking again. Now, with my first relationship, for example, like we did break up because of the lack of communication. And I felt like a partner should be just as engaged in me as I am in him. And he went to the army when we first started dating. So I was writing him letters and stuff like that because he said everybody else got letters. He didn't get letters. I don't want anybody that I care about to feel, you know what I'm saying, lonely. So I feel that gap. When it comes to relationship, I'm very much in the thing of a relationship should always feel like they're filling a gap or trying to fill a gap that is there. Right. It's like a demonstrated need relationship. I want a partner who can realize that, oh, there's a demonstrated need. Let me fill that in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to fix everything, but you can try. And so with that relationship, it got to a point where I felt like he wasn't being as considerate. I'm too young to be stressed. Gotta go. No hard feelings, but you gotta go. I feel like young people hold on to stress and then like stressful relationships that literally are not self-serving And this person who's 18, 19, 20 is not going to be the same person that they're going to be when they're 25, 26. That's okay. You do not need to be there for the growth of somebody either. You've been in a relationship to figure out that you guys are not particularly compatible. And if you are, you will meet again. That's literally how the world works. You will meet again. But that's how I kind of always went to relationships. And that relationship ended that way. I got into another relationship in college, which that relationship wasn't particularly like a deception relationship. It was just more so of when you and a partner have two totally different focuses, and that's okay, but those focuses overreach, it means neglecting your partner. That also
That just
means
doesn't work.
yeah. Like if you can go weeks or days without texting your
Yeah.
girlfriend or your boyfriend,
It's probably
crazy
not.
work.
Yeah,
So you
it's
gotta
probably that you don't really need them actually. Then that way.
yeah, like you don't need them. So why are we in a
Why would
relationship? So you got to end that there. And then another thing is too, like my last relationship before I met my fiance was more so of a relationship that taught me a lot about how I would like to be treated in a relationship. Loved it. But at the same time, it also showed me about the duality of if, and this is only if you are religious. If you are a religious person or you're a Christian or Muslim or whatever, I know Muslim people don't particularly like conventionally date, so
Yeah.
this might be a little different. But if you feel very uncomfortable in any way, whether that's spiritually, physically, financially, whatever, it's okay to take a step back from a relationship. Again, relationships are not as essential. Like it is a choice. So like it's
I think the essential nature of relationships is kind of that was my summation of it as well, which is that from a very young age, some people would say women are conditioned to. I actually think some of it is kind of biological in terms of like when puberty starts and you start to like want to have children, so you kind of think about being settled and stable. From a very young age, women seem to view relationships as so essential and core. And every relationship is final. Even in secondary school, you have girls talking about like, I just want one person, just my person. Like, bro, you're 15 years old. Calm down. And so if you view every relationship with that level of finality, it's always going to be the case that if someone doesn't subscribe to that same thing, then yeah, you're going to be extremely stressed about it. And you're going to start thinking like everyone's so bad and out to get me. I mean, sometimes those people are bad as well. Maybe I'll do the man side in a bit where how men reject those relationships. I'll do that bit. I'll do that side in a bit. But if that's how you always go through the world, you're always going to complain about people not being adequate enough because you just want every situation so bad. You don't go into a situation saying like, even if you date for a month or two, or you hear people say like, oh, so we dated for 5 months, so you wasted my time. How? You were in here same as I. We both used the 5 months. It's always a case of like everything is kind of like what you've done against them because you don't want exactly what they want. Now, my advice, if you guys care enough, you guys probably don't care because I'm mansplaining to you now, is that women have a natural desire that needs to be tamped down. I think on the opposite end, men have too low of a desire that needs to be amped up because it takes a lot of men much longer to get to the stage where they're ready to commit to a woman in a committed loving relationship, which is actually the best thing for everyone. It takes men probably a bit longer, a bit too long maybe to get there than women do. And so men need to work on trying to improve that aspect of their lives. But women need to work on reducing their lives because they have too much of it. And that's why you meet a girl, sometimes like, first year of uni, fresh as bloody week, you're talking about, oh, I just want one person, Why? Slow down. You still have a whole life ahead of you. You're still figuring life out. It takes time to get to these things. Someone says
conditioned to do that though.
Someone says women's desires for
Kind of.
companionship is not natural, is manufactured. I mean, if you say so. If you say so. All right, let me get balance here. Let me go to I'll go to you. I'll ask you the men's side. I guess you're in the relationship now, I guess. So maybe you say, you see what you say. But let me ask you anyway, Sha. Do you think there's a lack of good women? I guess you can use your friends.
First of all, I'd like to say that I almost entirely, I think I actually fully agree with what AB is saying. I feel like, for one, I would say who determines what's good? Because I hate it when people generalize. They like to generalize human beings when humans are so unique. What one person would consider good, another person would consider evil.
Yeah.
Like, it's really a matter of perspective. The way a man would treat maybe his first girlfriend, he might treat the second girlfriend the exact same way, but the second girlfriend might be like, oh my God, this is my dream man. If you understand what I'm saying. I feel like that maybe I feel like, how do I put it? A woman, a woman of a certain demographic, or maybe there's like a group or demographic of women that they want a specific type of man,
Right.
and they're not being able to find that, and maybe they're the most expressive, demographic, so they're the loudest. Because the thing about the internet is that it's not as if the internet is loud. I feel like the internet is just full of loud people. So I feel like the loudest people are the people you think there's a lot of them, but they actually might not be a lot of them.
It's kind of with politics as well, right? Like the far right, whatever, they tend to push the discourse a lot because they are the most prominent on there. Yeah.
Because I feel like most women don't, as in like, I don't know, maybe it's just me personally, but like the women that I've been with, like, it's not really like this. They don't be like, oh yeah, there's no good men around. I mean, like, I feel like it's just a certain demographic that are the loudest, even though they're not actually most women. They're not like the majority. They're actually the minority.
Okay,
but
interesting.
If you understand,
yeah, no, I get
I'm not gonna repeat what AB is saying because she already said it, and I almost fully agree with what she's saying.
Right,
but that's what I see.
I think what could be fun then is like, given that we all, AB spoke very, very well, very fantastic and well reasoned take. Well done for that. What I think might be useful and could be fun here, I'm going to try and go back to what I used to do in my previous lives, which is let's get into some personal experiences. I think to the extent that we all have kind of converging views and stuff, it's always fun to kind of just give people a random perspective. Like, there are like 18 people in here. A lot of people don't know you from anywhere. So it's always fun just to hear what someone's personal experience is on specific topics. So I'll go first to give you guys an example of what I'm looking for. When I want to go into personal experiences, I hate when people say like, oh, some people might say. I don't care what some people might say. Tell me what you say. Like, you need to say, I think, I view. Everyone understands that it's your opinion and it's not meant to reflect the entirety of society. So don't worry about qualifying it. Just tell me what you think. When I think about the lack of good women, again, everyone's relative, good and bad is relative. In my personal experience, I think what I've found is that a lot of women don't reflect on what makes them desirable, and they don't try to improve their desirability. So you have a situation where, and my theory for this is that because women are in the position where they're being moved to, I don't know what you guys say in America. We say in the UK, we say move to. Do you guys use that phrase in America? You're moving to me. Go move to her.
Not really.
Not really.
But I feel like we pick it up because there are a lot of people in
Yeah,
the UK.
Introduce that. So you can catch on. Bring it. Start using it. I'll drop a few UK phrases so we can do some cultural
Ain't no way
exchange.
the Americans have heard about it.
I used to watch Backchat. So.
Oh really? Oh no way! Backchat made it to the States. That's incredible.
That's so funny.
That's so funny. All right. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So I think, in my experience, women don't reflect on improving their level of attraction. So let's say when I was in secondary school, I moved to the UK when I was like 9, 10, and I was in secondary school. I couldn't, I could speak the language. Obviously, I spoke English in Nigeria. My accent was a bit different, blah, blah. So let's say my attractiveness wasn't like the best relative to like all my peers. And as you guys had to go, as I mentioned, had to go through puberty, women just look like breasts are the most incredible things you've ever seen or whatever. But over time, I think what that results in is that women start to then, if everyone is just telling you how amazing and attractive you are and you get your pick of the litter, again, it doesn't apply to all women, you don't start to think about like, how do I improve my attractiveness to meet, the kind of people I want? Because, at that age, you're getting whatever you want. You have your choice of the bunch. Over time, as a guy, I started to think, I remember consciously when I was in year 10, I don't know what grade that would be for you guys, but I think I was like, that's like 13, 14 for us. I had a friend and I used to ask him like, how do you talk to girls? How do you be funny? I consciously improved, like, I want to be a funnier guy because women like funny men. And I started to work on like trying to do that, like consciously. Maybe a lot of people don't think in that specific way, maybe even a lot of men, but that's why I was like. And the more I started to improve on it, the more I started to realize it worked. Like, my friend and I would be on the phone together, but this was back then we everyone had a BlackBerry, and so like BlackBerry Messenger was a massive thing, and we used to talk like, oh, I'm 29 by the way. You're making a face. I'm a bit older than you, so maybe that's what it is. You don't remember the BlackBerry times, you guys? How old are you?
No, don't.
No, I remember a BlackBerry because my dad had one. But when my dad had a BlackBerry, I was like in third or fourth. No, I was like in second and third grade. So like. How old is that? That's like 8, 9.
Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough.
I think I might just be the youngest.
Like 6 years older than me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When I was in secondary school, BlackBerry Messenger was a massive thing, and like you ping girls, like broadcast the like for a rate or whatever like that. So like that was the times where, as a guy, you got your early start on, like, you actually have to learn to do this. And so most men, they start to develop, you start to improve on your skills, by osmosis and experience. Whereas what's happening on the woman's side, my theory, of course, is that you're not doing any of those things, because why would you need to? At every stage, the men are just making themselves available to you, and you get your pick of the bunch. Now, what now happens when you get to a stage that I'm in now is that maybe you got a bit too good at it, right? And now you have more choice than you've ever had before. And now you start to think like, okay, when you start to look out there in the dating game, there's not anyone that's particularly standing out to you, because like a lot of the things you actually want, if most men start to reflect on like wanting women beyond the physical, there's not really much there. Again, I'm not saying like all women are just empty and have nothing going on for themselves. Obviously not. But I think more often than not, what you find is that most of them don't reflect on how do I improve my attractiveness for the demographic, at least for in my experience, for the demographic of men that I'm looking for. And so now that is not a reflection of how good or bad they are. It's actually a reflection of how bad they think the men are. But if you start reflecting on your type and why it is that your type doesn't want you, at least in my case, you don't have anything to offer me. You really don't. Like, so why would I want someone who's not curious when I'm extremely curious? Because at least your host live streams talking about, topics I'm curious about. Maybe there's a very few number of people that can match that level of curiosity. But if I meet someone and they're into me and, I kind of like some things about them, but that's a number one thing to me, and they don't have that, they might start there thinking like, oh, wow, what's wrong with this guy that doesn't want to just settle down with, with this girl? Like, she's a good woman. She's, she has all these qualities and stuff like that. You know what? For me, she's not really all that. I'll be honest, because she doesn't have the number one thing I want. And I think that would be my personal experience thing, is that I find that a lot of women, emotionally intelligent, I guess they are because they're just more emotional than us, fair enough. But I think from a romantic development perspective, I think a lot of women are actually in romantic infancy, shall we say, because they just never bothered to work on any of these things. Partly our fault, because we just kind of go for them mindlessly until we get to a certain age. And that's why you hear maybe a lot of women say like, oh, it's very easy to get a man, as in like, just to be attracted to you, to go on a date, blah blah blah. But when it comes to settling down, it's much harder. Yeah, because that man is now deciding like, low key, I like having fun conversations. Have I really been that intellectually stimulated by this woman? Not really. So yes, now you're struggling to keep him, quote unquote, because now he's bored. Now he's not very entertained. And so, do I think there is a lack of good women? Initially, I said no, but I think I'd say yes, actually. Not in a dramatic sense, because I don't go out and complain about it. I'm not going to start making tweets about the fact that, there's not enough of them or whatever. I'm sure like it just means like me trying to find the one I want is quite rare, and it might take some time. Hey, that's not the end of the world. Like, it's not a do or die affair. Take your time, innit? Like, whatever. But I do think there is a not so insignificant number of women out there who haven't bothered to develop themselves beyond a physical form because they've never really needed to. And so from that perspective, I do think they have a lot of work to do. All right.
What I'd say to you, AJ, when you say that, right? Maybe I feel like that only applies to like a certain genre of women. Like maybe the women that like they've developed quickly, and how they were able to attain men was through attraction by itself. So they just kept themselves. They just used that, and then once they found out and they grew up proper, and then they realized that that's not the only thing that matters. Even though their life has been so easy due to the fact that they've been attracted.
Right. So they kind of they got into a false sense of security then, because like
exactly, and they didn't work on that because like. Even though men kind of say, I feel like the delivery is wrong when they say that ugly girls that grew glowed up, they have the best personalities. That's probably a bad way to put it, but I see what they're saying. Yeah. But like, if a woman really wants to get a man and like attractiveness was not something they could leverage to do that, they would get a personality.
Yeah, you have to get in the lab, as the basketballers say.
Yeah. So I do agree with what you're saying.
Thank you. I'm never wrong, obviously. Everyone knows this. So it's not surprising that I've always managed to come to a fantastic theory.
It's funny because typically I do disagree with you, which is actually...
I don't know why. You're wrong, buddy. You're wrong.
Yo, I was saying
on the right. Let me get Little Island here. She waits patiently.
I was gonna say what you're saying is you're looking for a woman who is intellectual, and I think sometimes what happens is that some men, did I say?
No. I have very nasty sweat patches on my armpits, and I put my arm because I stretch periodically in my life. So
I saw that before.
I disgusted myself.
But I think what you're saying is that you're looking for a woman who's intellectual, right? But I think that there's also this thing where some men will say they're looking for a woman with substance. Yes, yes, you are attracted to women who look a certain way.
Yeah.
Fine, but to keep you, you want someone with substance. But sometimes I really do say, are you sure? Because usually a woman who's intellectual is going to question you.
Mm-hmm.
And some men may say they like it, but in reality, they don't. They would prefer a woman who's a bit more passive and maybe a little bit more agreeable than they would
like
initially
okay, I see what
think
you
they
mean. Like
want.
you can stray
So,
into.
like, I think intellectual women sometimes are actually not the best in relationships because of that. The fact that they're willing to
I see what she's saying.
I think relationships are not for everybody, right? I really don't think they're for everybody.
Really?
And yeah, I really don't.
So you
And
think
I
some people
think
are
when
just
you're
made to be
talking
single
about
forever?
when you're talking about the good, yes, really genuine, and it's okay.
Wow.
I think I'll go back. I'll tie this down to good men. You know, there's a shortage of good men. I think that there's never been a time where there's been a high volume of men who are good at relationships.
Right.
So I think the term good men, I don't really agree with that. I think there are good men. It's just there's a lot of people, men, in this context, from my point of view, who are not that good at relationships. But it doesn't mean they're bad people.
Yeah, of course. Right.
Do you see? So it's like, yeah, they're good people. Maybe they could be even good friends, but then maybe they're just not that good at intimate relationships with women. And I feel like that is a different set of skills, values. It's a different thing you need to be good at relationships.
That's a fair point. I mean, to your
So,
question
so
about whether sorry, are you done? I'm about to cut you off.
no, I'm almost done. So I was just saying I think that the shortage of good men is just, I think it's a really poor way of like putting it, because I don't think that's really what the issue is.
Okay.
Or I don't even think the question, that sort of statement addresses the actual problem, which is that, okay, there are many people who are just not good at relationships, and probably that's what needs to be addressed rather than there are bad men.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or there's an increase in bad men.
Right. I will do a refresh of the stage soon, just so I can get some people have been requesting. So I don't like this getting too crowded because it starts to hurt my head and I can't control the conversation adequately. So, any final thoughts from the rest of you before I bring on fresh people?
I mean, what I would say to what I also was saying is I'm going to basically say the same thing I was saying before, which is I feel like when you guys say that, that some men aren't built for relationships, I kind of disagree, because I feel like they're just not built for a relationship with you. As in, just with you. They may be they might be good with relationships with somebody else. The man that barely texts you and texts you like, I don't know, like maybe every other day or something. Yeah, that maybe he's an avoidant. Maybe he's built for a woman that's also avoidant and she doesn't want to be texted every day. Because that's how I see it. Because I don't see this generalization of men are just bad at relationships. I don't see it. I really think that some people are better suited to other people. Some people are better suited to other people. That's all I'd say, to be honest. I don't have much.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mutak, as always. And thank you so much to AB as well. Fantastic contribution. I think you really set us up nicely for this conversation with such a well-reasoned and incredible contribution. So hopefully you're able to follow me, stick around for more conversations. I don't know where you're from ethnically. I do talk about Nigeria quite a bit. If you happen to be from that
She's Ghanaian. She's Ghanaian.
Oh, close enough.
I have to claim her. My people.
Close enough. You asked a question. Let me bring up a couple more people. I'll answer your question. You asked a question about whether or not I would probably want someone who's like that, because I think someone said like a lot of men don't like being challenged and stuff. I think, again, so someone pointed out rightly in the comments, I have a lot of opinions which people tend to disagree with. I do enjoy this as, like, I think it's just who I am. That's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I do What in World Weekly. I'm open to hearing from people on their perspectives, and I don't think necessarily is like the disagreeableness, because I'm sure like there'll be some things we will disagree with, but I think it's the willingness to want to engage. That's what I find the most exciting and fun, because I'm at the stage now. I think the more you do this, the more you realize that people aren't always going to have your position. And I think I made a video today about someone in my comments saying they were wishing bad things on me and my family because I had a slightly different take to a social issue we're having now. I always think that that's probably not the most well-adjusted type of people, but I wouldn't react in that way to people disagreeing with me, because people disagree with you. It is what it is. So that's what I'd say to that. I'm therefore very open to it, and it doesn't challenge my masculinity in any way. Because the other thing about that is that whether you're intellectual or not, women want the man to be the man. Let's be real. I know there's this whole new craze online right now. If a woman likes you enough, naturally everyone just plays their position. So I ain't gonna worry about that. I know, what's going on. I know what I'm doing. I know what I bring to the table. I do all that kind of stuff. So I don't worry about my position being threatened in any way, because I do what I need to do. Y'all know that. All right. That being said, thank you so much, Little Isle, for your contributions today. Hopefully I'll see you for future conversations and discussions about all sorts of topics. Amazing. Welcome to the stage. Are there positions? Should I start with? I start with Bliss. Is this the same Bliss I know from before?
Yeah, I changed my name.
Oh, it's a
Do you know
long
what? I was
time.
getting a lot of trolls. So I thought I'd switch up my name a bit. This TikTok.
Trolls
is really
about what?
weird. No, just I made a comment in a video, and then all of a sudden I got a lot of hate, and I got a warning.
What did you say?
This TikTok is giving people warning.
But mild. I've got an account strike for a video I posted about Nigeria. It was literally a 20-second video, and I just posted like the guy hanging on a car, and they gave me a video strike for human trafficking. What?
You know what? It was the whole situation about would you date a bi man, and I said I'm into straight men. Literally verbatim, I am into straight, and I got a warning for hate speech.
Oh my god, they're so sensitive.
It's mad. It's absolutely mad.
So I'm surprised I saw you talking about that kind of that conversation though, because
no, I just put it in the comment section like.
Oh, just a little product comment. Chuck that in there.
And then I
see what happens.
And then I see like my account, I'm getting a warning. Like, what the hell?
Wait, so people are DMing you, or they were like messaging you?
Yeah. So I got a bit scared. I got a bit spooked. I was like, okay, let me just switch up my name and go under the radar.
Has it helped?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. People are crazy online, man. People get so emotional about these things. Maybe that should be part of our definition of good or bad men. Bi men, good men.
I'm telling you, this place is very odd.
Sexual identity.
Going back to the topic, I think it's not an issue about good or bad men. I think there's a lack of risk taking amongst people now, and I'll explain why. So there's a movie that stars Keira Knightley called Is It All That? It's in 1999, and there's a scene in that movie where one of her friends says, basically they're all encouraging. It's like a house full of women that are like dating early 20s, mid 20s, London, 1999, like the economy's booming, the pint is like £1. Pubs are like heaving. Anyway, so like there's a scene where one of her friends goes, there's a guy in the corner of the pub that's kind of staring at her, and her friend goes, why don't you just try? Just walk up to him.
Yeah.
Just take a risk. And she goes, yeah, all right. That attitude was very indicative of the 90s, right? Where people would just say hello, or, people would just get with each other without really deeping it.
Yeah.
Why? Do you know what I mean? Like so for example, in the 90s, casual relationship was very common. So the average 21-year-old had at least multiple casual relationships. Right. We could argue there's negative side effects to that. That casual relationship was quite rampant back in the 90s, right? There was a lot of teenage motherhood, teen women, like young women who were getting pregnant. However, relationship was part and parcel, part of life, right? You took a risk, and sometimes for women, because I'm a woman, from a woman's perspective, that risk is definitely a gamble. I mean, you're risking your womb in a way, right?
Yep.
But what's happened now, the pendulum has swung right opposite, where like women now lack, I can't put my finger on it. It's this whole thing of, there's these kind of statements, there's not enough good men. That's just, to me, that's a facade. That's not the issue. There's a lack of like just giving yourself the opportunity to go out there and meeting people without really thinking too deep into it. Because in the end of the day, for example, I think someone mentioned about women generally are better at relationship. That is false. Who the hell came up with that? How are women better in relationships? Just because women are able to form friendships, that does not equate to romantic relationship, by the way.
Right.
There are plenty of women who are great friends, but are lousy people to date. Absolutely lazy. Like, honestly, like that's why when you said women don't really improve on their ability to make themselves attractive, not physically, not aesthetically. I'm talking about like the way you approach someone, or the way you talk and the way you approach a relationship. That is a skill. That is something you learn over time. Back in the 90s, you learned that through socialization, right? You learned that through living with people and seeing in relationships around you. You wouldn't necessarily learn that through the internet. You would learn that through people around you, correct? Sometimes you would learn it through Hollywood. Whereas now people are so reluctant and like isolated in a way where I know people in my life where there are women who, if a man doesn't text them back, that's it, it's finished. And I think that's a ridiculous. I just can't for the life of me.
Even like the Bumble, right? Literally, the whole idea behind it. Now they've changed it. Was like literally the woman has all the choice, but like it's like a way of like kind of like saying, no, you just basically it's okay. It's a lack of effort, isn't it? Because like if you just give her all the choice to kind of say yes whenever, it's not really.
But in the same, because I'm quite balanced person, in the same perspective, in the same like, I also believe men have major deficits when it comes to attracting. There's a level, I don't know what it is, fear. Also, men are playing. Like, there's a lot of issues in the male camp, but I specifically like to talk about women. And obviously, I'm really interested in anthropology and human behavior. And what I'm seeing amongst women is that there's something amongst women that is, I don't know what it is. It's like the lack of. There's a thing, there's a texting addiction. Sorry, I've got so many different thoughts. I've got ADHD really genuinely. Like I can't stick to one topic. But there's one thing I'm really interested in is that women have such high criteria on who can be their mate, right? Yeah.
Of course, she's gonna agree with that one. She was too funny.
100% men suffer from so many deficits, but we're talking about this. I'm talking from a woman's perspective. There's a lot of shit that goes on in this world, but there's a lot of things that are self-inflicted. Women have really, I would say, blocked their blessings. In a nutshell,
I'm trying to picture it and close my eyes and imagine what's going on here, because clearly there's a society, and it's funny because everyone talks about society tells women this, blah, as though we're not all parts of society, as though we're some kind of, as though we're kind of removed from it. But like, there is probably something on both ends where, if you think about, for example, the idea that like up until recently, women have been begging like, why won't guys approach us? Why won't guys talk to us in person? And a lot of men have been saying like, oh, up until recently, a lot of women have been complaining about being approached, and it's like you're bothering them, etc., etc. So like, it's now both sides are kind of like reacting to each other, and you're having like, so maybe part of this good man shortage is like the men are probably reacting to a lot of stuff that women are doing.
But, did you go?
Yeah, my connection just went for a second. I think I'm back now. Hello.
But I was gonna say, like, the whole thing about when women, like, men don't approach us anymore. We had 15 years of women publicly saying, I feel harassed when a man says hello.
We remember. That's the thing. These people don't remember. They have such a small memory. We remember the threat. Twitter.
Like,
oh my God.
To a certain degree, yes, the whole backlash kind of comes from the fact that there was a lot
There
of
was
men
there
who
was
were
actually
creepy.
happening.
There was like, come on, in the 90s, men were creepy. Like, come on, the stuff that used to get like were accepted.
It was a very sexist society up until very recently, like maybe 2010s. Even watching movies and like, like, what do you call it, like a social culture or whatever, it was an incredibly I have to admit, I mean, I was quite young obviously, but it was actually an incredibly sexist society.
Incredibly sexist.
So,
and obviously with the
enough.
pendulum swinging, right? The whole theory of the pendulum doesn't really swing in the middle; it swings
right all the way.
to the
Yeah,
extremes.
good
Exactly.
point.
And now we're seeing the dynamics between men and women. That pendulum, in my opinion, and people can disagree, has swung to the extreme where I don't think it's natural. We are mammals. We're meant to be with each other.
I think so.
But I don't know.
Anyway, Anike, let me get you in here, Anike. Give me your thoughts on what you consider to be a good man. And I also like the fact that, thank you, Bliss, for bringing a new perspective. That's kind of what I like to do here. It's not always going to be, sometimes you see the topic on screen. You don't have to, obviously, ideally you answer it like straight to the point or whatever. But when people introduce new, what's that Kanye tweet? A man has to be willing to open his mind, to change his mind with the presence of new information. So I like that new perspective you brought, Bliss. I do encourage anyone that wants to come on to also, if you have any interest in third level perspective that no one's really thought about, please feel free to share that. That being said, Anike, you have the floor.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm okay. I was just picking up on your point about the accountability part. So, like, upon reflection, I have realized that I myself may be described as a good woman or as a bad woman by different people.
Yeah.
Like, I can confidently say any of my exes would describe me as a good woman.
Right.
But then I can also say there's some people who I may have spoken to who I may not have been as interested in, or however it goes, they'll be like, oh, she was a bit mean here, or a bit blunt,
Yeah.
or, you know. So I think everyone has the capability of being a good person and a bad person. And I think AB did pick up on it earlier about men. Again, they can do the same thing. They can like choose who they want to commit to. And I feel like everyone has it in them when you find someone who you want to actually try for, to then try to be the best person you can for them.
Yep.
But then again, you get the society, like, external factors. Oh, I should do this, I should do that. And because my girl didn't do this for me, maybe she's not a good woman, because online that guy got decorated hotel room and she was
great
getting me a
point.
cake.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's how I might express to you how I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I guess who's receiving it.
I like that. That's another fantastic angle. I guess the comparison, like you mentioned in the 90s, Bliss. In the 90s, you didn't have Twitter, did you? You didn't have someone like, posting a picture or a video of you flopping when you try to chat to someone, or exposing you on Twitter afterwards. So I guess you don't feel that kind of consciousness in terms of risk. Part of like playing it safe is even like dating apps, right?
Yeah.
Approaching people in person is quite nerve wracking or whatever. So online, if the girl ignores you, hey, no one's gonna know, right? Just you and her. Well, unless she tells her friends, or she posts you on Twitter. People post their Hinge screenshots to Twitter nowadays. So actually, I should take that back. And
It's
so
like there's a pub that I was listening today in the radio. There's a pub that banned the Meta glasses because men were complaining.
I think they
that
banned
were
it in the
being-
country now.
Yeah.
the
So
UK.
the thing is,
Is it in the UK or somewhere like that? Is it UK that banned it or somewhere?
I think it was in the UK and London. A lot of London
Let me
pubs and
check.
bars
I
are
think
banning.
Scotland as well,
I think a country. I think I saw a news today about
Yeah,
Meta
Scotland.
glasses.
Yeah. But the thing is, why I mentioned the Meta glasses is that intimate interaction that you would have had in the 90s, where it was private. It was between, even let's say we had a terrible date. It was awful, car crash of a date. You're confident when you go home, you never have to think about it. Whereas now, imagine this woman is wearing, or man is wearing a Meta glass and literally recording the car crash date.
Right.
Imagine, like, and that gets posted on Twitter or whatever, those kind of platforms. It basically, it creates a society where nobody's going to take a risk. Nobody's going to willing to take a risk because of that ability. Like, you're going to be embarrassed.
Oh yeah, it's banned in the UK now. Good.
Yeah, it
I
is
want
banned.
to go back to that point Annika made about the social media, because I think that was a fantastic angle, which I feel. Well done for you for a bit. I'm kind of jealous I didn't come up with it
You
first.
seem shocked.
Yeah, no, I'm not shocked. I'm just jealous I didn't come up with it first. I know how much intelligence you have, of course. I believe in that. So I think that is actually a very, very good point, because part of the comparison of what's a good man is probably now being shaped actively through what you can see other people getting or not getting. And when you start to compare yourself to how other people are experiencing their own romantic situations, you start to think, should I want this too? And if they're like, maybe then it goes back to like a very small minority of people that you consider to be like amazing are getting that. And so if you're not getting it, maybe you're not being treated right or fair enough because they're getting it and you're not. So does that mean they're better than me? Like, clearly you don't want to believe that. So then you in turn now adjust your standards accordingly. I guess we don't exist in a vacuum, right? So maybe part of that is natural. Like looking at other people and saying, hold on a minute, if she can get that, or if he can get that, why can't I also get the same? Maybe the answer to that is that maybe that's the same is not right for you. But to that point, let me bring in Liz, who's been waiting very patiently. Thank you, Liz, for her to give me her thoughts on, I guess, all of the above, the social media angle, the lack of risk taking, and also just your general perspective/opinion on
I think I kind of agree with everyone that's come up, like different points, especially the social media aspect. But my thing would be, there's always been like a limited amount of good men. I don't think that's actually dropped, because when I speak to older people, like my mum's generation,
Yeah.
my older cousins, people I work with, like anyone I interact with, there's always been terrible men. Always.
Right.
Social media has made it look like every guy out there is basically trash. And
Yeah.
it's not true because I grew up with a lot of brothers. I have like 4 brothers and they're all amazing. I'm not trying to big them up. They're annoying at times, but they're all amazing stand-up guys. They do what they need to do. And I feel like people have been surrounded by all these videos, all these news articles about lonely men, the height of this, the height of that. And people are just obsessed with this now. Like we've entered an age where everyone's obsessed with social media.
Yeah.
You see things constantly. You see the same story again from a different angle. You're on TikTok, you go on YouTube, someone's made a video about it. So it's like we overdo everything now to the point where getting a relationship is seeming like a hard thing, or getting a good man is seeming like a hard thing. It's always been hard to get a good man because that can change. Someone can be with someone for like 20 years. We've seen it with our parents.
Yeah.
And that man flips it and actually he's been with someone outside, or he wants to leave the relationship, and now that's a bad man. So everyone should just take their own with a bit of salt. There's always going to be bad guys out there. There's always going to be bad females or whatever. To be honest, I actually see more bad female nowadays than when I was younger.
Really?
Because when I was younger, girls would do anything and everything to be with a man.
Yep.
Like nowadays, girls are like, fuck that. I don't want
Yeah.
to do this. I don't want to do that. If he's not doing this, I don't want to date him. I haven't been single since like 2022. So I don't know what the dating market looks like now. But for my girls that are single, I think that they're finding it hard because their standards are really high. So I do agree with like some people saying like the standards are way too high for guys. At the same time, some of the standards are not things that I would think as high. Like asking for someone to have a stable job is not it's not something amazing.
No, that's not reasonable.
Especially when you're working with like other people. If you look at like maybe you're a black person, you're trying to date within the race, you're gonna want to find another black person that works maybe in a similar field to you. Yeah, it just gets a bit hard when you start looking at elsewhere, social media. People keep telling you bad stories as well. Like you speak to your girls, they'll tell you bad stories. It just, yeah, your confidence will go down in actually finding someone. But I looked at it before I go into a relation. I've looked at it as if I don't find someone, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think someone did say like we don't have to be with someone, and I 100% agree with that. We don't, because that whole chasing a man or chasing a girl, finding the one, like it distracts you from actually enjoying life. And sometimes when you're enjoying life, that's when you find the right person.
Nice perspective. That's a very good point. And I wonder if would you say like maybe that's partly why you see more women complain about it than men then? Like if you want it that badly, then naturally you're gonna maybe have more experiences like that. You're gonna say negative. Because I feel like as a guy, I have friends that I'm single, quite a few of my friends are single. It doesn't bother me that much at all. Like it's not something that I feel like it's such a tragedy and it's so horrible and like, oh, why can't I just find someone that's right for me? Whenever it happens. Hey, I'm not stressing myself about it. Whereas when you see like people wanting it that badly on the other side and they start to talk about it a lot, that's when it starts to look like again, all these men are bad because they just haven't accepted like, if I go on a date with a guy.
Someone said girls equal money.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong,
That's
be honest.
That's the social media coming out.
I don't that one's true. That one's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
It's actually quite sad.
There's a bunch of girls I know, they are with men that don't have money.
No, I don't mean like in a negative way, like as in like, they're gonna like rinse you or whatever.
Okay.
No. It's not like it's not like that serious. But it's just like if I think about, let's say like if I was dating, and again I haven't, it's been a while since I've been on a proper date, but like if I was actively dating, my going out budget right now, I think I did a video on it the other day. It's like £150. There's no way I'm actively dating that's gonna be my going out budget. It's just it's impossible. You can't do it. Especially I'm like this. I'm dating trying to find someone. Like so you're going like a lot of maybe first and second dates. Hey, even if you're not spending that much, even if it's £50, which come on in London, what are you gonna get with £50 on a date? that just means
100%.
maybe triple that.
You know
So like
what,
that's kind of what I
AJ?
mean. Like, I'm sure what he's saying as well,
I
which is
had
that
no
like
idea
Yeah,
men had budgets for dates until I
they
spoke to my
have
husband
to.
about it.
They have
So
to.
I
you never
actually
you,
asked
you
him,
never see anything. You guys don't know what's going on.
oh
You don't know
my
what the hell is
gosh.
going on. Wait, why are you surprised by that? Do you pay for first dates?
No, because, well, obviously, like, I haven't paid for a lot of dates.
Oh,
It's
so you think that money just grows somewhere? Somebody just, yeah,
no,
we'll have a
I've
collective meal
always,
budget. We just go and collect,
no, it's
just go
just
and
that
take it from
I've
there.
only been with only 2 people, and the second person is my husband.
Oh,
I
okay,
happened
okay.
to find my husband pretty early on in my life, but he told me, actually, we were having this conversation one time, and I randomly asked him, hey, what's the most money you spent on a date? And he literally pulled out an old spreadsheet, and I was like, what the fuck? Like an old spreadsheet, and he was like, I budgeted this amount for every month, and I'm like, is it that deep?
Yes.
Is it that deep? I was like, so being a man is fucking stressful. Sorry for my language. Like, you have to portion out your
It's the
salary.
price of doing business. It's the price of
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
When you
So
guys put it like that, it is expensive. Okay, I agree with the guy that made that comment.
But it
I
can be
kind of
more
low key felt
expensive
bad.
depending on how prideful the man is as well.
Sorry?
Like,
That's true.
Is it
Yeah.
what?
it could be more expensive depending on how prideful the man
Pride,
is as
yeah,
well.
of
Like,
course.
I've dated guys who I've probably made more money than, but they're insisting, like, nah, I got this. So
Yeah.
might
I
not
mean,
wanna-
because we don't want to end up in a Twitter thread, innit? End up on Fox. You have to be careful. Watch yourself. That's the social media element is fantastic.
Can I say something about why women are the ones who are complaining?
Go on then.
There's a perception that women are the ones who are complaining there's not enough men, right? That is the perception, and I do believe to a certain degree the reason why women are the ones that are complaining more is that, I mean, some people disagree, but women yearn for relationships deeply.
I agree.
Deeply. I don't think, like, there's this whole thing on TikTok. When I first came to TikTok, one of the few first videos I saw was a woman saying, you don't need a man because us women, we've created a village of ladies, friends. I'm sorry, my friendship,
That's Nigerian
my
to say.
friendship with my ladies, my girlfriends, these are women that I love to death, will never equate to the relationship I have with my husband.
And it's okay. And it's okay to say that. Like, it's fine.
It's okay to say that because that
That's
relationship.
we are. We're human. That's how
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we're built.
A romantic, you cannot truly replace a romantic partner, whether you're dating the same gender or the opposite gender. But what I'm saying is you cannot replicate that, and people try to replicate it with consumerism. So going out, spending. You're never that deep yearning.
It's not.
Can
It's
never
not
be
really filled.
filled.
Yeah.
So I think that's why more women complain about it.
100%. And I think a lot of the complaint is to do with that mismatch, because for whatever reason, some people say it's because they've been socialized. I think there's a biological element to that. There's a mismatch in how much women want it and how much men want it. So there will always be the women complaining because the men don't want it as bad as they do. If men had what women had, which is like that deep yearning, again, I think men eventually get there and develop it just a bit slower. If we had that, there probably wouldn't be as much of an issue. But the reason why we have that issue, and even in this article, a lot of women in here are described as like, doing very well, they're making loads of money and blah blah blah. You can see that it still doesn't satisfy. Whereas you can have a not so insignificant number of men who, like, they get to that stage, they get to that level, and they're just doing what they want. Maybe I don't think it's necessarily good for them, but like dating different people, that kind of stuff, and they don't seem that bothered by it. Like they're
But
easy.
you have to be quite specific. But there's a psychologist. I was listening to a psychologist that said, yes, men are like that to a certain point, though. They start.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, we get to a point, and again, even those men that are doing that now, I'm not even saying like it's actually good for them. I guess the point is, like, it still just shows like they don't want it as much as the women initially, but when they get there, they probably get there a bit later. Whereas the women have been feeling this way since they had their first period, and the men are getting there when they're like 20 something. And so, yes, if someone's behind in that kind of level of desire, it's going to be problematic. But before I get later in it, let me see what this. Someone says, Poker Bean says, I think women only want to give their love to men when they could put it in other places. Oh, you're saying, oh yeah, they could like that. Yeah, and again, maybe that goes back to what I said earlier about like not developing yourself. Sometimes I think I had a friend recently who told me like she realized that she actually didn't have that many hobbies. that's a good example. I'm not saying like that's representative of all women, obviously, but like that's a good example of someone I realized, like, yeah, and she's a friend that actually, I don't know if it's probably there's a correlation here. She stays in relationships. Now for her, it's actually never been that deep, and like it's not like they end really badly or whatever. But for whatever reason, she just finds that she's always in a relationship. And part of probably the reason, if I had to theorize and start psychoanalyzing her, is that when you haven't got, like this person said, something else to pour yourself into, a relationship always just seems natural, and you can't never really say like, actually, I think I'm okay for now. I think I don't really want this right now. If someone comes along and gives you the right level of attention and love, you'll be like, okay, let's just get into the relationship. Not necessarily like deep down, how deep you want to go in that, like they actually want that. But if there's nothing else to do, yeah, might as well, right? To that point, Lith, I want you to give me the South African perspective. What's going on over there in South Africa with the lack of good men and lack of bad men?
Lord, you don't want to know.
I have a friend, well, maybe not a friend, an acquaintance who moved to South Africa recently from the UK, and she was talking about how her opinion on the men and how they're not really up to snuff. They're not really giving what they're supposed to give. But yeah, if you don't mind, I want you to, as much as you can, focus on that South African perspective, just so we have a global audience in here. It would be very, very nice for us to actually understand what's going on in that part of the world when it comes to.
I don't think there's anything particularly like too different or special about the dating scene here, because I think so much of the world right now, we borrow so much from each other. But what I can say is, for both men and women, my thing that I've picked up on is people just don't have personalities anymore. And I think that is a big part of what is making just dating a whole lot more boring, a lot more tedious, and just exhausting. Like, because a big part of dating should be the fun of getting to know each other.
The uniqueness of
and
that experience.
I feel like so much of us are so stuck on being cool, you know, and not wanting to appear to be
yourself.
too worried about things. Or too interested in things. It's like, no, like have hobbies. What are you interested in? Like, what excites you? What do you think is fun? What scares you? Communicate, have a personality. And I think that's where, for me personally, in my experience, things have just that's where for me things go down, because I'm not naturally an extrovert,
right?
So, and I don't like going out and drinking, and so I don't find my fun in doing things like that, and like going out and going clubbing and what, right? So it's really difficult to find people who are able to have fun in simple things, or like who are able to capture your interest and attention in just conversation, because people don't have anything to talk about.
Do you think that's partly because of that social media stuff you mentioned? Like, if everyone is kind of convergent, because we all kind of ostensibly your timeline and my timeline on X could look the same, because there's no reason why we can't follow the same accounts. Do you think that's partly the reason why there is, like, I guess you want to say, a lack of individuality?
Yes. And I think also it's the timelines. Like, people don't want to have, again, personalities, individual thoughts, like your own ideas about things. And this is going now to the prompt on the screen about like good women and good men. Like, I feel like good women exist, but good women now are called, what's this, birds. And I always laugh with my friends. I'm like, I am a bird, because I feel like that is how, when you like a man, that is how you should be acting. You know, you should be a little loopy. You should be a little, oh, my man, my man, my man. You know, that is how a man is supposed to make you feel in a relationship. So this idea of now when women do act like that, it's an issue. People have an issue, and it's like, oh my God, women are too much. You're too into men. La 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 la, this and that. And then on the flip side of that, you have men who have given into being socialized to seek their validation in other men, even when it comes to relationships. So even when it comes to who they deem attractive, it'll always be from the lens of, okay, what are my boys gonna think about this girl if I bring
Do you
her
know
over?
what? It's so funny you guys mentioned that, because I was with my friends yesterday, and
Yeah.
we kind of inadvertently decided to play that game, and we found out we do not have the same types. I'm not gonna lie, these guys were on crack. Some of the stuff they were saying to me, I couldn't believe. I was like, three of us, and we literally had quite divergent views. So I say that to say, like, I don't know how true that is anymore, because I don't care. I don't give a damn what the hell they're saying. The women they're talking about, I ain't going for them. They're not for me. Like, they can have more. They can keep those women. Keep them. They have more for you. So I don't know if I'll buy into that now. Maybe when you're younger, the point about men wanting to, date for other men, you do hear that get thrown at men pejoratively quite a lot. I do think that's my pushback to that. I think I made a video on it a few weeks ago. Is like, I wonder how much of that is natural from the perspective of, like, we are social creatures, and if people, if you kind of agree that this is nice, like, let's be honest. Again, I don't know how bad this sounds to women, but like, I low key wouldn't want a situation where me and my friend, okay, even though we have different types, there are, like, general expressions of badness or whatever. I can't have a situation where his girl's better than mine. Low key, we both have bad girls, and let's just agree on that, okay? But that doesn't. I don't know how that will manifest itself, but low key, I have a situation where my friend's girl is better than my guy. Whoa, what's all that about? Why can't it just
You're for the idea of a trophy wife?
a little bit, yeah, a little bit, a little bit. I'm not gonna, I know maybe it sounds bad, but I'm not gonna lie. Low key. I don't know.
No, I get it. I understand.
I don't know.
I understand. But you see, that's so weird, because like, you can acknowledge that you and your friends have different types.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if that is just physically or in character as well, but like, with me and my friends, that's a fun thing. Like, we make fun of each other's types.
Yeah.
We know who each other has a crush on, and it's kind of like, oh, that's your type, or that's your man over there. So, there's no competition to say, oh, the men I like or the men who pursue me look better than the men you like.
It's not a competition per se. It's a friendly competition. Kind of like how if you and your friends play a game, you want to win, not because you hate them or whatever, just because you're competitive guys, isn't it? So, like, you prefer to win. You're not gonna just be like, I'll let you beat me. That's not happening. Like, I'm gonna give my best to try and win. But like, if I win some, you win some. That seems about right. If you beat me all the time, whoa.
But you see now where the problem comes in is when that subconscious wanting to big up to one up, your friends, is now the driving force behind your dating choices.
Of course. Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah,
And
that'll be a
I
problem.
find for a lot of men that seems to be the case. And like, so like, you'll have men who they'll marry, or they'll be in quote unquote committed relationships with the homely girl, the sweet girl, the quiet girl, right? The one who, this is the kind of girl you take home to your mom. Nah, sort of thing. But this guy is in the club every weekend buying bottles for tattooed babes like me. And it's like,
Like
but
you?
if that's what you want, then stick to what you want. It's like you don't know what you want then, if that's the case.
Agreed.
You can't have one girl who's actually your type and one girl who'd like almost society has almost pressured you into thinking you should be with.
So
Do you get? Because
I get it. If I just go to Liz. Liz, can I ask you on that point of competition? How much? Because again, I'm a guy, right? I want to know the female perspective. How much does does the friendship opinion or whatever factor into your situations nowadays? Like how much subconsciously or consciously? And again, this is a safe space, so it factors in a lot. I don't really get. I've already admitted, like low key, maybe sometimes it factors a bit too much for us. But how do you girls? I guess how do you see that specifically?
I think the younger you are, the more you'll see it.
Yep.
As I've like moved from my 20s to 25 now, there's a huge shift. Like people that I know, the guys that I bump into, like even people that I know from secondary school and how they've changed, it's drastic. So I don't think it stays forever. It's not really the best excuse to use for like the no good men left anymore.
Right.
But it's definitely something that does happen. But a lot of the times it's when you're younger.
Yeah.
But then again, you go to these clubs and you see uncles in their 40s and 50s and they're still doing this is the babe I brought today. So like it still happens from time to time. But I think as long as you mature, especially for men that have things to do and are loyal, it's not going to play a part. I don't think it'll play a part, especially once you get like a family, you get married, even if you're not married, like you get a female, you have a kid, things like that are not at the top of your mind anymore. If you're a rational person, it's more how can I make my family better, have me better life. I think it just comes with age.
Fair point. I wonder maybe there is that is a distinct difference between men and women then, because I think maybe also would you guys say like maybe men are just more visual creatures, like that just matters to us a lot more than it does to women, unfortunately.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Because women can stare at people as well, and want something that looks nice.
Okay, what would you say?
Yeah, I feel like again, you said you and your friends they all have different types, and me and my friends all have different types as well. But if they are chatting to someone who's not a bit of me, I don't think that would them knowing that I would not find this person attractive would not influence their decision.
Of course.
On them talking to them. And then again, even if the relationship, my opinion on the relationship, good or bad, nothing will change. Like I feel like they're able to make their own decisions based on them and not what their friends think. In my friendship group anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lita, what about you? Would you say men are just more visual or tend to bias towards that compared to women?
100%.
I don't buy that.
Oh,
I don't
really?
buy that whole men are attracted to what they see and women are attracted to what they hear. I don't know, because up to a certain age, maybe like high school, maybe first year, second year, maybe until like 24 is pushing it, and chasing that aesthetic. But no, not really, because a lot of men are just trifling. I don't think men really care. I think they like to pretend they do about looks. I don't think men really care as much as they like to make us believe.
Really? Why'd you say that?
I care about looks.
Because
I'd like to throw that out there.
Because look at how men look. Look at how most men look. If they cared about looks, men would look better.
Who are you shading?
She said, "Look."
She said, fuck me.
But do you guys understand what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I can't say I do because this puts me in a very
I feel like I
compromising
understand. I
position.
understand what you're talking about in terms of women are probably more likely to go for someone and like maybe not too sure on their face, and then they get to know them, and then it grows from that. I think women are more likely to do that, but I still do think that, you know, even if a guy is a quote unquote good guy, but you're not physically attracted to them, that's the key to like call it off, because you gotta like what you're looking at, you know.
Yeah, I agreed. So my question was whether or not men do that more than women. Based on my anecdotal experience, I have to say most definitely.
They do it more because they still base it on their friends. Like, again, everyone's got different types of life.
Or maybe, you know, the other thing I think the reason that might be the case. I was going to do a video about this today, so I'll do it tomorrow actually. I think men have this kind of Victoria era thing going on of like, you know, the Victoria era back in the day, if you're ugly, you're a bad person. Like, people, they used to associate looks with how good you are. So I think men kind of do the same thing. Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
But then even Cinderella, the ugly stepsisters, they were evil. The evil witch.
Yeah, exactly. So
They're
yes,
ugly.
yeah.
So like in society, I think it's just
So I think men just, I don't know if we haven't let go of that idea. Maybe we hang on to it a bit longer than most people. So I think a lot of men just equate, like, if a girl is really, really good looking, you just tend to ascribe virtue to her accidentally. Some of it is like because like you also think like it'll be kind of low key hard to come in and your girl's the baddest in the room. That does kind of go hard. I'll be real.
So with that point, I feel like it's the opposite for men. Like, if there's a really, really good looking man, you wouldn't say they're a good man.
Oh yeah. Women will be like, this guy, you already know he's on some trifling ass BS. Okay, that's interesting, then, isn't it? Oh look. Oh yeah.
Oh,
So we both need to fix up. We both need to fix up. Although maybe the women are just more right because, you know, good looking man can't believe the options he has. can't believe his life. Anyway, so who was going to say something? Was that Liz or was that Litha?
Yeah, I wanted to say something.
Oh, please, go on.
That just popped into my head as well. You see how men say that they don't really care about looks. They're looking for a good woman, blah, blah, blah.
Men say that?
Yeah, sometimes they do because, like, females might come back and say, you know, men just want good-looking women. They want women that look like this and that. And then men would be like, no, we want natural beauty.
Oh, right.
Bodies. I feel like men have slightly caused this BBL culture. I know they deny it. But I think they have. And kudos to all the girls that did it, and, you know, they look, you know, sexy as hell. They paid.
They do.
Someone else paid.
Hey,
if they go to the right doctor. But I think it's kind of it's messed up the dating game. I think because at one point, girls with like certain assets, you know, they weren't always everywhere. Now they are everywhere. So it's like the whole market.
They are. Where are they?
They are because I grew up in.
No, I said, like, give me the location. Let me go check.
Trust me, London.
I need to see for myself.
South Africa.
South Africa. Hey! You already know. You already know about that place, man. You already know about that place.
That is the home of the natural pear-shaped body.
Oh my lord. You know what?
It is everywhere. Like, I feel like now it's a bit harder for them to find the girl they want without like being
you have to get a bit
seduced. Not seduced isn't the right word because it's not the girl's fault.
Bodies running me.
Yeah, and then later they complain like, oh, her personality's dead. She's not fun to be around. Well, you ran to her because you were looking at her.
You know what? That is a fair point. I do think, again, obviously men are the center of the universe and women don't want to accept this. But because we're the center of the universe, we start wanting something. All the women are like, you know what? I also want a big bum. Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of BBLs in the UK though, so I always find that argument quite interesting because every time I see them, I always kind of like, oh shit, that's a BBL because I don't really come across them.
You're in awe or you're seduced.
I saw one.
I'm not that impressed by BBLs. I'll be honest. I don't think they look that nice. I don't know which doctors they're going to in the UK, but I don't know, they need to stop.
Dr. Antalya.
And
It
Talia,
depends what.
he needs to lose his license if he's the one making the
No,
abominations I'm
it's like
seeing.
in Turkey, you know, Dr. Miami, like Dr. Antonio,
Ah,
they go
okay.
to Turkey.
Oh, yeah, I haven't really loved the quality of what I've been seeing. I'll be honest. So, I like
If
them.
the
I like them
quality
natural personally.
improves,
No, no, no,
are
no, no.
you
I
gonna
like I
go?
like it natural because there's enough natural women in it, and I feel like okay, let me not say that. Let me not say that. I was gonna say something crazy there, but let me not say that. I'll keep that to myself. Shall I say? Let's just say I'm doing okay. Okay, so I don't need to have to. I don't need. They don't need to increase the quantity for my supply. I'm fine. I'm eating already.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I feel like men like me get preferential access. That sounds kind of crazy. That's like a crazy sentence. I don't mean it that
The
way,
big
but
beauty ladies go to the front.
we just find each
Line up.
we just find each
Yeah.
other. We're already connected, so I don't need there to be like an increase in supply for me to get what I'm looking for. So I think they probably shouldn't be. They probably shouldn't be doing all that. But I like the points that you're all making so far around the different aspects, social media, the natural proclivity of men to certain shapes. I don't know if that some people talk about the biological angle of like men preferring the wide. I don't know how true that is nowadays. The whole like back in the day the wider hips meant childbirth would be easier and all that. I don't know. Is that a thing
That's
nowadays?
another change the women's body goes through.
Ah,
I want to
yeah.
bring up that topic. And
Oh,
sorry,
back to
just
that
also
topic.
on
Yeah.
on the social media thing.
Mhm.
I have a friend who's a guy, and he came out of a relationship, and he was like, he thought it would be so much different. Like, she couldn't really stay around because she lived at home, or like she didn't really cook for him. They didn't really go out much, and just because of like how he expected to, you know, a little bit older than me as well, how he expected his girlfriend to be at that age is not what he got, and that might have been based off social media or based off what other people are doing, and that doesn't necessarily make her a bad woman. He was a good man in that relationship. I can objectively say he did alright. But yeah, so that doesn't necessarily make her a bad woman, but you know, just due to where they were in their lives, they weren't able to be the best good version of themselves for a relationship.
Yeah. I think comparing yourself is inevitable, right? When you have stuff like social media, there's no way you don't look around and be like, I wonder how much of our desires romantically are just truly natural to us, and maybe that's just normal, right? Humans are social creatures again, so it does make sense that what you consume and what you see on social media will actively inform and shape your relationships. I think if I think about the most important things on my list specifically, I think a lot of that just come from me understanding myself a bit more, like being in relationships and being quite bored and realizing that actually, you know what, I just need someone that's a bit of a chatterbox because I'm a lot of a chatterbox. So trying to keep up with me is hard in itself, but like if you can at least do maybe 50%, 60%, that might be what I need because, and that to me, that's now become the foundational thing that I look for. Someone that is interesting enough or like just has enough of an interest in the world to have. I mean, I started a whole TikTok and I'm launching a whole career around talking about what's going on in the world. So it would be nice to meet someone that's also similar to that. And, I'll be honest, I think I found it quite difficult to meet people like that. Like, that doesn't mean that they're bad or whatever. A lot of things that go on in the world are very boring and sometimes dreary and depressing. So I completely understand if people don't want to talk about it or just feel like, hey, it's happening, man, but just keep that stuff on that side and then let me focus on other things. But I have I'll admit, unnatural interest in these things. And so it would be nice if I find someone who's also unnatural. Now, the physical aspect, which is what maybe I haven't gone into it from the woman's side. And I wonder how true this is. Again, I'm going to speak about myself here because why not? How true this is for a lot of women. But what I noticed is that the more I saw myself as like improved physically, shall we say, the more I started to be like, why can't I have that in women? Maybe that's also partly because I also just naturally wanted those physical features from before. But the more I reflect on, for example, how I look physically, I'm like, well, to the extent that I have this, if I start making a list of all the things I want in a woman, someone could be like, this guy, how greedy. But then I'm like, from a physical sense, from like, if a woman starts thinking about, I guess, not all women are attracted to my body build or shape or whatever, or how I look. But I was like, if I have all those things, then why can't a woman have it too? Maybe that's a bit greedy of me, but that's currently how I see it right now. I don't know if you guys reflect on that for yourself and be like, oh, I'm desirable in this way physically. I would like someone who's desirable in the kind of opposite way physically. Do you guys do that? Do you ladies should do that? Should I say?
Yeah.
I think I do. Yeah. To an extent though, because sometimes when you want someone exactly the way you are, so like similar paychecks, good body, I don't know, tall, if you're extra tall, you might actually start ticking or crossing people off the list
Yeah.
to the point where you can't even build anything with anyone. You want
Right.
someone already ready made.
Yeah, good
And I
point.
think sometimes men say women want a man that's like already there, like rich, handsome, has the body, has the money, everything. And yeah, so sometimes that might be an issue if you start looking for these exact things. But at the same time, it's your life. So it's like if that's what you want, that's what you want. But not everyone can get it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
good point. Good point, actually.
I think, or because like if I exist, then the
What,
male version of me,
what are you, Descartes? I think.
then the male version of me should exist. Like, I feel like I'm just an average build, average height. You know, that's all cool. So I feel like there's definitely a male version of me physically, in terms of like to be established, like what Liz said. Again, I like black men, so there are probably more black women that I see around me in the environment that I am, like the job that I am, than there are black men. So with that one, I could maybe compromise on that. They have to be as established. But yeah, in terms of physically and personality wise and humor wise and things like that, I could definitely wait for a guy to be my equal, or a bit more, if that exists, but it should do.
But isn't it usually the case, like at least physically anyway? Most people are already at their physical peak nowadays. Like it's,
I don't think so.
you know, I mean, to be, I'm 29, so maybe I'm saying that as like I think my physical peak. I think my physical peak is now like I actually weighed myself today, and I was 82.3 kilos, and that is the heaviest I've been probably my entire life.
Is this a good thing, or
I mean, I like it because like
men's weight.
I mean, for context, I'm 5'11", so for my height, that is very light. Actually, I think most people that are my height are much heavier than me, but I have a quite slight build, and I've kind of wanted to put on weight for a long time, but no matter how much I lift and stuff, I just don't get very heavy. So in the context of like physical prime, I suppose the fact that I'm heavier now probably means that like if I think about what I do in the gym and stuff, I'm probably also lifting the heaviest. I just couldn't never really achieve this kind of thing. So I think I'm kind of in my physical prime. So I'm not sure if I met someone now, what more would change. Again, maybe just because I do work out quite a lot relative to most people. And so
I have a question. Would you you don't need to slander your friends or anything like that, but would you say all of your friends are in their physical prime if they're the same age as you?
And acquaintances as well.
And acquaintances, yeah.
Why are you bringing all the people I know? Do you think every man in the world is in their physical prime? I speak for every man in the world. Like, I don't know them niggas, man. I think all the friends I have that I'll consider friends, I think actually everyone's doing really well.
They're gym bros, that's why. We want the real people, the office guys.
Those guys go gym, they go gym. One of my friends go gym. He goes gym at 5 a.m. He's super on it. Like, so like, and also I think maybe also because like, if you're black, most black men that at least I know of, it's not that hard for you to be in really good shape. It really isn't. Obviously, like, there's levels to like being in great shape, or like, you know, be able to run 15K or whatever. But like, you can just be like look like pretty good and just like not try very hard. I mean, we're kind of blessed with that, luckily. So I'd say yeah, all my friends. And again, I don't know if I consciously chose people that don't tend to get fat. I don't think so. but no, yeah, all my friends are in like really good shape. I'd say I can vouch for them.
But you know, you can always get a girl that might not be 100% kind of what you wanted at the end result, but you know this girl is a gym bro now, you know, newly turned over, new cheek,
new cheek, literally,
pounds, getting muscles. Like, you could be with that type of person, but I don't know. Some men
can I be honest?
Might not like it.
I don't know if I'll say again. Don't quote me on this, and everyone forget this. I'm gonna call this my Men in Black take, which is after I say it, everyone just forget it. But in the past, I've always thought like if I get a girl that has like one or the other, you guys know what I'm talking about. would it after a few years, I start to feel like, you know what? Because imagine this, yeah, you get with a girl that like, okay, she has the one behind, she has ass. I can just say ass, I guess. It's okay to say that, but then she hasn't got breasts. But then, if you now lock it in or whatever, that means for the rest of your life, you'll never know what a pair of great breasts feel like. Huh?
That's why you need to go to
That's a long time, you know.
Babies are.
That's easy to go with. Sorry.
South Africa. That's where those ladies are.
Isn't that a long time, guys? For the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's why you have to have fun when you're young. Wrap
Get
it
out of
up
the system.
and then
Yeah,
pick your last option and keep it stepping. Because the girls had options too, but we just locked it in.
True. All right, fair enough. You guys are right. No, that was my younger self. Now forget everything I just said.
I also think like how much of this like type now when it comes to looks
Yep.
is just how much of it do we outgrow?
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking I've gone through so many phases of having like a quote unquote type when
right.
it comes to how someone looks. And I'm like looking back, I'm like, I don't think I actually have
you just like something for some reason for a few months or whatever, and then you kind of like just move on to something else, and then it's kind of like
yeah.
So you don't think there's been like features of those people that you can say like throughout all of those there's been like 2, 3, 5 things that have kind of been consistent all throughout?
Yeah, but I don't think those are like, I'm very short, so I'm like 1.5, so like what 4'11", even 5 feet on a good day.
Lol, you don't talk like you're short. I don't know why.
So like
What does a
long
short person
legs,
talk
but
like?
a nice pair of legs is something I've always liked.
Long legs, but sorry, what?
Long legs, yeah, but like a nice pair of legs,
A nice pair of legs.
like a soccer
men.
player's legs.
Oh, like the massive calves and stuff, or what?
Yes.
Oh, that's okay.
And I'm very vain because I'm vain about the way I look too.
Right.
So a really handsome face.
Okay.
So like nice eyes, a good set of teeth. I don't know, but then I'm also like, those aren't really, apart from nice legs, like a nice face is subjective, like handsome is subjective. Like handsome for a white guy and handsome for a black guy, completely different. I don't know.
So you're saying like a type is something that eventually people just grow, at least physically anyway, people just tend to grow out of it because you start to realize that ultimately what really matters is like what's beyond that.
Yeah, I found for
let me
me,
reflect on that.
I found that to be true for me and a lot of my friends. Like, I still can't get myself to like have romantic interest in someone I'm not physically attracted to.
Yep.
But I find the people I'm physically attracted to, like, if you could put them in a room, none of these people look alike.
What? Really? What? Wow! What is going on here?
None of these people look alike.
Just be doing anything. Like just be doing.
So I've been thinking, no. Hey, I don't know, but I don't know. I think that's why I'm like, I think that's just something we really outgrow.
So for you girls have this thing where a lot of guys have this thing where like you meet a girl, and I think again clearly it's all based on looks, right? But based on how they look, you just start to feel like I could be with this person romantically. Do you girls have that or not really? I think a lot of guys have that.
I have
It depends.
I definitely have it.
Not for me.
Not for you, okay. Onika, you can start. You can go and say you have it. And I'll go through.
No, like it's of course people might grow in attractiveness and things like that. But if someone's moving to me and I'm not feeling their face like at all. By the way, this isn't like maybe I can see it. This is like a at all. Then it's like, yeah, it's never gonna work. If it's like, okay, I can see he's kind of cute. He's not necessarily my type, but he's cute. Then of course we can run from there. Or of course, if he is my type, then that's an automatic yes. So that's my.
So I'm actually talking more about like I can see myself in a future. This was not even like I can see me talking to them.
Yeah. There's no future if I'm not gonna talk to you.
Of course.
Yeah, I can look at someone like he looks like my husband for sure. But then there's also that I can't see myself.
Because I've always thought recently that was quite a bad thing because a lot of men have that, and I've always thought like it just seems again like back to what we said earlier, like we're just centering like how this person looks and we're assuming all these other emotional characteristics are actually a lot more important. We're assuming they're gonna have those because they're good looking. We're willing to ignore it if they don't have it because they're so good looking. It's not gonna matter to us. And I was thinking like that seems quite problematic. But again, that's what I think. Like I think maybe a lot of us as men are. But Liz, you said you don't really engage in that way. How does that work for you?
I guess it's different for me slightly because the way I grew up, because I had so many brothers, and then like I'm a kind of tomboy, especially when I was young. So I didn't really see guys in like a romantic way. I wasn't gay or anything because I know some people asked me if I was gay, and I was like, no. I just didn't see them in that way. So even if someone was moving to me, I won't recognize it. If someone was handsome, like I would know you're handsome, but I wouldn't see it in a way of like, oh, I want to be with this person. No, so I wouldn't see it like that. Yeah, it's just strange. Even my partner now, like him talking to me and chatting to me, I didn't find him that attractive. Like he was handsome, but like there was nothing about him that was like, wow,
spectacular. Right.
I'm amazed. Yeah, it's me speaking to that person, and then I start to like almost build a friendship with them,
right.
And then it builds from there, and then I'm like, this is the person I want. Most of the time it didn't work, but now I'm fine.
I think that's probably the best and healthiest way to kind of go about it, where like you can notice it, but it doesn't really factor too much into like how you really, because like I think what tends to happen, at least if I take my experience, as an anecdotal or whatever, is that you tend to then I'll consciously put a lot of effort into that person because again, just based on that physical attraction, I'm assuming that they're going to be all these things, and they're not really, and that's actually a very dumb thing to have done because I just created a world in my own head, which wasn't really 100%, grounded in any reality, as opposed to just actually just speaking to them. Finding out for real.
From your perspective, if you find someone that attractive that you can see a future with, you're saying you might have rose tinted glasses on, so you don't, because of the attractiveness, you don't necessarily see all of the red flags. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, initially, I won't say red flags. Like initially, I create this fantasy in my head, but that dies away very quickly. If, for example, like I said in one of my videos, if we met at an event and she doesn't message me, hope you got home safe at 3 a.m. I'm not talking to her again. Those glasses will come off.
Oh, so that's a bit harsh. She's got drunk and
that's how I roll. That's how I roll. I feel like any girl that's thinking the same way you're thinking, in the same vision you have, she'll care that you got home safe. If she doesn't, that tells you all you need to know.
Oh, so you're a romantic in heart. Like you want love. Like you're a real lover boy. Yeah. It makes sense.
That's how we move, man. Let me get love.
You want infatuation.
Yeah, just also be obsessed with each other, like straight away off rip. I feel like what usually happens is like you're the most romantic and creative and all that stuff when you feel that level of it. Sometimes it's mad, but that's kind of probably what love is, right? I think. But like if that person is not like quite feeling the same way and they have to like warm up to it, maybe I just need to like experience more stuff, because that's how I see it right now. Because like then if I have to second guess, then I'm hesitating. Then maybe like the most romantic thing to do would actually just be like, literally, we met last night, but fuck it, are you free for brunch the next day? But then I have to think, like, actually, because you haven't messaged me back from the night before, maybe, you're not really that interested. I have to wait. Then I think, okay, let me just slide up on your story, blah, blah. Now I'm holding back. Now it's just not flowing, and now there's no point. Like, it's gotta be the way, like, go.
I think you should put a little more effort in, because technically that's how me and my partner got together. I didn't give a heck. But as soon as we actually started talking, I was like, oh, he's cool. He's like, some girls just need some extra time. Give her a chance.
The thing is, you are right. Like, everyone's different. But I struggle with it. I think also because I'm so extroverted. So the idea of, like, even someone being like, being a bit like frosty with me.
Yeah.
Not even a rude way, but just because like they don't really know me and this is the first time meeting me, I would just start to interpret. I also have ADHD, maybe that's partly why. I would just start to interpret that as like, why don't you like me
She
the way I
doesn't
like you?
like
So
me.
then I'm just chill on you, like, because I don't want to like go through all that to then find out for real. Like, maybe actually that is an expression of how she actually feels. So then I'll just be like, nah, forget it. Because if you don't decide immediately, then that's fine. I should probably try and tap that down, but like. Cause like it's maybe again, it's not like if I meet someone that's not into me, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, wow, what? I'm gonna be like, I'll find someone else. Again, maybe a bad mentality, but like because of that, I just tend to also just not, I'll try, like if I feel like it might be something, I'll go 100% in straight away. Then if you give me a reason, then I'll pull back. And once I pull back, then it's kind of over, and I'm like, it's not really gonna work anymore. Lava, you can give us a different perspective on this. How are you?
Yeah, I'm quite similar as you, like red flags. I do get annoyed at the smallest things these days. Yeah, like if I've had situations where a guy messaged me, I didn't respond within 5 hours, and he's like, "Don't you want to talk to me anymore?" Block. Because it's
Lol.
like, what's wrong with you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
because I'm quite opposite. I'm introverted, so I don't want to talk all the time. I don't.
Right.
I just, yeah, I like my space. So if I get that little hint of red flag, then I'm like, no, next kind of thing.
And how have you found the more active? We talked a lot about like, social media. I haven't even asked you the initial question about good and bad men. In terms of how you see the distribution. Is there a lack of good men and enough good men in
I
your
agree with
view?
what someone said earlier. It's subjective. So just because someone was bad with you doesn't mean they'll be bad with somebody else.
Yeah.
I've been in relationships with somebody and I think he's the worst person ever, but he's been married for some time now. So it's either she's happy to put up with it or he's not that bad,
It's not that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it is quite subjective. Just because it didn't work out with that person does not mean they're a terrible person or the worst person in the world, really. I guess it's give and take what you're willing to put up with in a relationship, I guess.
Let me ask you, ladies. This feels so cool. It's like I'm like a girls' night or something. I know the girls are just talking about their perspectives on men. I'm just chiming in every so with my giving my uncle. Let's continue the girls' night then. Why do you guys think from this? Like, I want to ask you from the female perspective. Why do you guys think you don't see many men like making this a massive issue? At least that's what I see anyway. I don't see many men like talking about it. What, from your perspective? Again, that could be personal. I love that. I love personal experiences, personal opinions. Maybe I'll start with Liz. Why do you think like you don't see a lot of men complaining about this, whereas you see more women complaining about it? Because some people might say, Liz, just to tee you up, like, yeah, because like the men are sport for choice. You do hear that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think men are more obsessed with money than women. I know they think they are obsessed with women, but they're not. Every single guy I know, including my partner, is obsessed with money. Like, whether chasing money, getting the next higher paying job, doing this, doing that, starting a business, they're obsessed with money. And I think even when they do get to that point where they feel like they're wealthy, they will still be obsessed with money.
Okay.
When they get bored of that money, that's when they look around and be like, oh shit, what are we doing? They might be married at this point, they might not be married. Like, depending on what's going on in their life, either their partner's going to change. That's where we see all these older men start acting up. Or it might be that they don't have a partner and they're actually like, shit, like I'm running out of time. I need to get a partner and build a legacy. We always hear that, I need a legacy. I need a child.
Roman Empire.
I think they're just obsessed with money. That's it.
That's a
Girls are as well, but like in a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting position. Do you know what? I haven't reflected on it like that, but like my friends and I, all we talk about is making it.
Yeah.
All the time. Always like, how are we gonna then do that? We are obsessed. Like, you're actually right. It's crazy. And in that kind of frame of mind, a lot of men will even literally say like, oh, I gotta get to this position right before I can then get a girl, because that's the sole focus initially. Like, you're not even thinking about all that. In that kind of frame of mind, you don't even probably then reflect on like, how bad or good the women are. You might have them in a functional sense, like, casual relationships or whatever that might be. But like the fact that woman that you're seeing casually is not great or whatever, this or that, I don't care. Like the need I want from her is not even any of that. And then yeah, maybe later on you start to then realize that, oh yeah, I'm 35 now. Actually, I should probably find someone. Then you look around, like
100%.
what's left? Like who's there now? That's a
And I
great
think by
perspective.
that time that men are actually noticing that they need a partner or companion or someone,
Yeah,
that's the same time that women are either already married because they settled,
yeah,
or they're still looking, but now their list is really high because they've come to
yeah.
that same point as a guy where they
Right.
have everything.
Yeah.
All they need is this guy, and they just need that guy to be perfect.
Perfect. Yeah,
So
yeah,
then it's
yeah.
like a battle of,
Of
yeah, it
wills,
gets crazy.
of interest, of preferences. Like no
Yeah,
one wants to budge or give in because everyone feels like they're right at the top and they should have all the best of the best and be able to build their own
literally.
person and design exactly just what they want. That is a fantastic perspective. Actually, I didn't reflect on that. And maybe that's why maybe the men get to that emotional desire for relationships later than women. Then maybe because if all
Yeah.
you're thinking about from a very young age, or at least not all, but like a lot of it is like how to get to. I think even a lot of men don't even have like they have like you might call it delusions of grandeur, where we're just not okay with being like average. Most people want to do more. They want to be more. We don't even know where that desire comes from. But you just want to have more than just like the ordinary.
Yeah.
And so I
I
guess
do think though that black men have that desire more than white men because I grew up around Essex lads and they are
I grew up in
like
Essex. What part of Essex did you grow up in?
I grew up in Dagenham, so
I grew up in
technically I'm East
Dagenham.
London, but I'm
Did you go
Essex.
to Dagenham Park?
No, but I did date someone from Dagenham Park. But
No
anyway,
way. Small world.
but yeah, like I do think like black men have that urge a lot more, which makes it a little bit harder because the guys that I know that are white, them man got married at like 21. I'm not saying it's good or bad.
Yeah.
They got married quick. They
They don't
entered
really
like a
check in for that.
trade.
Yeah.
They're not in an office job. They're like in some hard laborious trade, but they are making lots of money. They're kind of content with it, but they're slowly moving up their field. Like when I speak to them now, they're getting like 90K,
Yeah,
100K.
yeah. Like
They don't even see it as a big deal. They're just like, yeah, we're doing all right.
yeah,
We're
they're not
okay.
really like they're
I'm
not
just
really
like, fuck
pressed.
you.
That's crazy because I've got to the stage now where I think I realized for a few years, at least especially because I have ADD, what would be the best for me would be a committed relationship. Now the reasons why I've not been able to get into that, I think they're a lot more complex. But I think when a lot of black men realize that later than they probably should, and
Yeah.
so like earlier on they're not really putting that much interest in like that much investment into that. But if you consider it to be that important, you probably would try a bit harder to try and do it because it's actually very, very good for you. Diamond says, do you think hypergamy is real? I think it's real in like casual relationships. Like yeah, in casual relationships, yeah, the best men or the men that have the most whatever tend to get more or less all the women. I think in more like romantic relationships, I think things are a lot more balanced out. Again, if you're willing to kind of compromise, there's probably a lot of social media rhetoric around like wanting the best men, but people settle is the wrong word, but people just date people, all the time. And again, women have a natural propensity to be serious anyway, so I don't think they care as much. Like if a girl likes you, if you can do all the other stuff well, you can probably get away with not having too much money. So I don't think like, in serious relationship sense, the men that are rich get all the options. A lot of them tend to even be single. But I think in casual dating stuff, which is probably what a lot of these people or the incels, obviously their problem is like not getting sex, right? Yeah, they'll complain because yeah, there are the guys that have resources in that way, they are getting they are getting all the women. And you usually find like, well, yeah, one guy has quite a few, and it's like, god damn, man, leave some for the rest of us. I don't complain about that obviously because I don't worry about those things. But anyway, Onike, over to you. Why do you think men are not complaining about the lack of good women? Is it because we have it so good?
Yes, of course. But no, I just don't think they are looking for good women. I don't think they're looking for I think men just look for women, and then when they find a good one, they're like, oh, here's a good woman. Or if they get burned or like hurt, or they're like, oh, women are evil, that was a bad woman. So I don't even they go into it like I'm
After
only
God,
going to chat.
fear women.
Exactly. That's where you get this, and then they're like, oh, now I'll be a bad guy. But anyway, but see, they just go in looking for women for whatever reasons they want the woman for, and then if they find a good woman, they're like, oh, it's a good woman.
Yeah, good point. Actually,
I'd be
that's a
looking for
I
men.
think you even find like a lot of men don't date that intentionally. It's like they stumble into situations. I think at least when
Oh,
it comes
this
to
one's good.
serious stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. Like, so that's why. Yeah, I do tend to. I see your point there. Like they're not really pressed about it because initially, you're not like. And to be fair, a lot of men also tend to blame themselves for like why they struggle to meet someone. I think again in
Very
that respect,
self-aware.
yeah, I think in that respect, men tend to have probably a bit more self awareness than women. Again, apart from these incels or whatever, right? But like generally speaking, most men just kind of like if you haven't met someone that's right for you, you probably just think, oh, I just need to improve myself. Or I just need to make more money. I just need to, get this thing. If I had this nicer car, if I had this nicer that, you don't
Yeah, but
think like,
that's like the thing. If they meet a woman and it don't work out, and they're like, I just need to level up and get a better job. Like, oh, maybe you just didn't chat to her. Maybe you were just a bit mean. So they probably think, oh, if I was in a higher status, I wouldn't have these issues. When they need to look
men
in
making
and
100K don't have these problems, man. They
that
ain't gonna
probably
do.
should have probably have it
They ain't
worse.
gonna do this.
Exactly. That's their mindset. When in reality, you probably could have lost your job and been jobless for 18 months. But if you treated her and made her feel the way she wanted to feel, you'd still be in that relationship. It's not about your status.
Yeah, I agree. I think at least, especially when someone gets to like you, I think the initial part of that is true though. Like where like some people, I guess that's just natural in life, and some people that have certain more things just get away with more, get away quote unquote with more than like people try, a bit harder for you if they consider you to be also somewhat of a catch. So if you improve yourself and just try and get better, it would be easier for you because people that people like and they're fond of or whatever, and they tend to try a bit harder for them. Litha, what about you? Why do you think men don't complain? I think I'm putting the wrap up after this question so I can eat. I'm starving. Litha, why do you think men don't complain about the fact that there are not enough good women?
I just think a lot of men just wait it out because
I like that.
because
It's a waiting game.
historically, there's always going to be a woman who will lower her standards to be with a man.
What do you mean? What about increase? Talk about law.
So, like, there's always going to be a woman who's willing to do anything to be with a man. So I feel like men just wait it out, literally, because they know. Like, Stephen Hawking couldn't even talk. He was wheelchair bound. He still was able to
Wait,
cheat on his wife.
Oh,
There's always a woman. There's always a woman who's going to do it. Do you get me? So I feel like men just are like, there'll be someone for me, even if it's when I'm 85 and pooping my pants. There'll be someone.
because we're the center of your universe. As much as you guys hate to accept it, we are the thing that makes your world go round. So whether you like it or not, we just have to wait. It's a waiting game. It's patience. Life is about patience.
Yes.
Water always finds its level.
Men
There's no
know
need to
how
rush.
to play the long game when it comes to that.
Yeah. We're chilling. I think that there's a lot of truth in that. That's a good point actually, because a lot of men like I know now, like if you haven't met someone, you're really not bothered about it. It's not a commentary on how bad or whatever it is. You just feel like you just feel like when the time comes. Also, it seems like we have a lot of choice. Like we can just switch on, and then we just go for what we want. And if you try hard enough, when you start switching on, eventually you probably find it. Interesting point. Lava, what do you think about why men are not complaining about the dearth? I love the word dearth. That's my word of the day.
Basically, don't kill me, ladies, but I do kind of have more of an objective view on this one.
Just trigger them by saying your view is objective, and I say don't kill me to imply that their view is not objective. All right, I like that.
Well,
good tactic.
no, but basically, I just think men do have it a bit harder than women when it comes to relationships. In terms of basically, men have to have a more higher standard, right? To have to get a woman, whether it's having more money, having to look good, and so on and so forth. Whereas women, I think it can be a lot easier for us to pull men, should we say, right? Whether it's just having a bit of big boobs or an arse, or
men are so fucking easy. It's brought me great distress. over
I
the
think,
past few years when I started to reflect on just how easy we are.
yeah,
The
and
women can't keep getting away with this. They
I do
can't
think
keep
that
getting away with it.
it is a lot. I know there's this perception that as women we have it harder in life. Well, okay, maybe I'm just speaking from my perspective, but I do find that men do have to have a more higher standard, or look really good or have a
So
lot
you're
more money.
saying men don't complain about a lack of good women because the baseline for being what they consider to be like a good woman is quite low because they'll just kind of go for like simplistic things, and so because of that
Yeah,
they
they
don't
just
complain
think with
because
their
like
you know
you can find
what,
enough.
rather than
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, right. Yeah.
literally,
Good point. Good
rather
point. Good
than
point. Good point. I like that.
whereas
That's not a bad
women,
angle. That's not a
yeah,
bad
whereas
angle
with
actually.
women, we kind of look for a bit more than they do.
That seems true to me. That seems true to me. I think most men are just kind of coming to the phase of like, actually, you should probably want a woman for more than your physical.
Yeah,
A lot of men would
pretty
even
much.
openly say, if I search on X right now, I think I came across a tweet. You see it every few days. They're like, I don't even care if a woman makes money. I don't even care about this. We don't care about all that. Which is like, why don't you? That makes no sense. You kind of need those kind of things. But it's literally just about like physical attraction. Everything
Yeah,
else I can provide, and that's fine.
yeah, because as a woman, I'm looking for, okay, you're gonna take care of me, you're gonna be earning so and so amount of money, or
Are
you
you
look
caring?
good.
Are you your
You're gonna be,
emotional? Your emotional development.
yeah, we're emotional
Yeah,
beings, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
basically,
yeah.
compared to men. So
Interesting.
I do think, yeah,
I like that's not a
in
bad
that
perspective.
sense.
Litha, you say you disagree. What do you disagree with? Sorry.
Um, I
Oh,
I don't buy into this this opinion that like men have it harder in dating because more is expected from them. I just feel men are more delusional.
Ah, it.
Wait, AJ, wait.
You've got my
So,
attention.
what I mean is, men will complain about, men will complain about, oh, we're expected to have all this money and just take care of women and blah, blah, blah. When the reality is, right now, women are out earning men. We're outranking men. So men don't have that. And then the emotional aspect, the be kind, be considerate, then that's a burden as well. And it's like, okay, well, that's free. And that those are just traits of a good human, a decent human being in general.
Right.
So so I just think like they have this delusion that they have to have money and oh it's so hard because they refuse to actually control what they can control, which is just be a decent guy.
Interesting. I see. It's funny because all my friends consciously, or maybe not subconsciously, think that way. Everyone keeps telling us that it's just a thing of our own invention. Like we've all just made up the fact that we need to have money. And again, it's not like when I was growing up, my dad was like, "It's very important for you to have money and take care of the household." Blah blah blah. Actually, my mom, did quite a lot of heavy lifting financially, and continues to do so. So I didn't even see that in a familiar household. I don't exactly know where my thing comes from, and if I start looking at all of my friends, I don't know where their thing comes from, where they feel like you do need to have like this much money, and the idea of even meeting someone at your financial level just seems like nah. I need to have someone where I'm on the higher financial level where I can just kind of take care of everything, while we also kind of complain about the fact that it's not good to be in a position where you have to take care of everything. I don't really know where that comes from. If I'm being honest, as a guy, I can't tell you where that comes from.
And that's my point, because it's like, and then you're not wanting this money and this power to fulfill this patriarchal ideal of being the big strong provider, because then you complain about that as well. And then you treat these women that you're bankrolling like garbage, a lot of these men. Do you understand? So it's like, then what is the point of working so
maybe
hard
some
for
of
this
those.
money to take care of women if you're then also going to complain about taking care of women?
I think maybe a lot of men probably do want that. Like it seems like, and maybe part of this is like some kind of Nigerian, ideal or idea. Liz says ego. That's probably also a nice thing as well. I think in an ideal world, you would just do that. Like you might again, you shouldn't theoretically, because like the other person should also be contributing efforts, which is also financial sometimes. But maybe as like a Nigerian or whatever,
Agreed.
you feel like you should just like be able to just handle that, because there is something nice about just being able to just take care of the whole thing. But
No,
you
absolutely. I
shouldn't.
mean, I'm African as well, so we have that mindset as well. But
What is the book on South African men? I know Nigerian men are thought to be very generous. Ghanaian men are thought to be very stingy. What's the book on South African men?
eh,
This is I'm thinking
s-
about it.
South African men are South African men are very manipulative. So 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 they'll show you they have money, but won't spend the money, but will make a point to I'm not going to spend this money on you.
Interesting.
That sounds so wicked. Like,
It is. It's very, very, it's
It's a
very
bait and
weird.
switch, just to keep it just
It's
enough out of your
very
grasp, but
weird.
enough for you to be able to see it.
as a Nigerian, that would irritate me.
Ah, ha, 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 ha,
No, because why? Why are you doing that?
It's very weird. It's
That's
very,
hilarious.
very strange.
That is so
It is
funny.
very strange, I won't lie.
That's very fascinating. I don't know if I know of many South African men actually. I know South African women, though. South African men. Oh, actually, I know one of my friends' friends is a South African guy. Tuh, that guy's something else.
Because I think a lot of our views are based on our experiences, basically. My view is there are like 4 billion men in the world, not been through enough to make a decision.
Oh,
I know that sounds so wrong, but
wait. What do you
you
mean
know,
to make a decision on what? Sorry.
just are they all bad, if that makes sense, or are
Oh,
they
right.
not good?
Yeah.
There's so many, and I think a lot of our views will be based on what we've experienced, and you'll find that a lot of us will say the men from our countries
Yeah, true.
are this or they that, but even at that, we've not been with
There's more variation. I mean,
that
I
many
guess yeah. I
men.
guess we can only
Yeah,
give it like
from my experiences, really.
ethnic flavor angles. Anyway,
Yeah,
thank you to
rather.
everyone for joining. I've really loved this. Actually, this has been like having a peek into the curtain of girls' night, supplying the topics. I think most of the people that have been on here have been women, which I've really enjoyed for my own selfish reasons. I'm joking. It's always nice to hear from different perspectives. And that sometimes means like the gender opposite side, and just because I do think my final take on this is like overall, as far back as I can remember, especially when it comes to romantic situations, men and women develop in such silos. Esther, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Hope you're following. If you're saying I'm a good moderator, if you enjoy the moderation skills so much, you can follow so you can come back and see more good, fantastic moderation and continue to enjoy that. I do also do obviously other topics as well, political, social, what's going on in the world. I comment on and give my take and try to encourage other people to do the same. But if I reflect on the ways in which we develop romantically, maybe part of the reason why, for example, myself and a lot of my friends developed to think like, if we don't have this much money, we can't, be with a woman or get a woman, is because when we were developing our romantic vision of the world, we did that in a silo with a bunch of other men. And I'm sure women largely tend to do the same things as well. So when you then go online where all these, positions and views start to then converge, what you find is like the men are saying a bunch of this and the women are saying a bunch of stuff like this, and the women are saying like, where did you guys get this idea about women from? And the men are saying the same thing to them, like, where did you guys get this idea about men from? I think everyone's kind of developed it independent of the other side, and so you have this, chasm in the middle that's kind of like maybe not too dissimilar to our political situation right now on the left and the right. And hopefully doing more stuff like this, again, in my small way, with my little 19,000 followers, helps to bridge the gap, and people can just learn more about how the other side develops, their own views and visions of the world. So I think AB gave a fantastic rendition of that. I think you've all done a very good job of that as well, to kind of simplify. If there's some, people out there that are just thinking, all the women just don't like all the men now, no one gets along. Yeah, actually, when you start to break down all the reasons why, these views exist, what you find is that, oftentimes it's either because of a lack of communication, such information, or we're just not very close to each other in that way. And so we don't tend to hear enough of perspectives that challenge our prevailing view of the world. And so if someone is saying something like there's a good man shortage, maybe that's probably a very simplistic way of viewing stuff, but maybe also someone needs to tell them that actually, the fact that you're looking for someone that you can't find doesn't mean they're not good people. It's just, I don't know, look inward sometimes, or, the people you're looking for are out there. Just keep searching and stop complaining, because you don't hear other people complaining. It's a mixture of all those things. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna drop everyone now. What's for dinner? Great question. I'm gonna have beans. I love beans. I love
Like
beans.
on toast, or like
Beans on toast? I'm Yoruba.
like, what kind of
Essex
bean?
guy.
The beans on toast.
Essex man dinner. No.
White colour.
It's honey beans. Like
Oh.
ewagoyin. If you're Yoruba, I don't know Yoruba people in here. It's like this honey beans, and we cook it. Where you from, Liz?
I'm Edo.
Edo. Oh, you guys don't have. Maybe the guys don't have that. But basically, we take honey beans and we just cook it like until it's like really mushy, and then we
Yeah.
just put sauce on top, and you have it with bread. And I'm gonna have it with bread and plantain. You can have it with Gary as well, which is kind of quite nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very filling though, and it makes you fart like a bitch. Well, I don't care, man. I'm in my room, stink up the whole place by myself.
Is that the reason you're still single?
Do you know what? Yeah, I wouldn't actually mind a girl that doesn't mind farting. I like if a girl farts. Like, let's say I'm just chilling with a girl, she farts one time and it stinks. I'll be like, oh my god, I love it. Like, this is.
No.
Lord.
I think it's quite romantic. Like, it's there's something like organic about it. Like, you just fart. Like just
No
do it.
way,
Like, just
I
let it
can't.
out.
That
Like,
is no.
but girls don't usually have like stinky farts, which is a bit disappointing.
Whatever floats your boat, AJ.
I'm a very gassy guy. Like, I burp on demand. I don't know. I fart a bit more than the average person, I think. Because I be eating beans so much, I don't even know. But like, I think it'll be quite cute if I
You're
just.
gonna have to reduce that from the diet.
I'll have to
Come on, you
reduce-
need to get a girl.
It's actually quite good fiber.
That's the thing. My theory is that yeah, I must be eating something else, because that's all stuff you're just getting out. You just feel light afterwards. So there must be some like, bad gas that you're getting out of yourself. And I
Go
burp.
pick one, either fiber or a girl. You have to pick one.
I feel like the girl that likes me would kind of find my farts endearing. They do smell really bad sometimes, but like on the whole of things, I think they'll just find it like it's part of my whimsy. I'm a whimsical guy. That's all part of it.
Really blow them away.
So that's what's for dinner. I don't know if you guys have already had dinner already, but that's what I've got on the menu. Let me do a quick shout out to my game that I'm developing. Some of you might be new here. This is my game that I'm making up. What in the World games? You guys can't even see that probably. Should I just hold it to my face? It's a card game I'm developing. There we go. This is a good. There you go. It's called Recall. Actually, the game itself is called Recall. And it's kind of basically what I already do now, but in a game version. So topics that are going on in the world. It's gonna be year specific. I haven't prepared a quiz for today, Lava. I'll be honest. I probably should have done a better job. No, because Lava, you reminded me last time that I shouldn't do too many of the card games in there, because everyone's gonna remember the
Everyone will know the answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now I actually start preparing specific questions for the live, which and to reflect on how to do that. Maybe it's gonna be okay. We can do like 5 or 6. So the idea behind the game is like for each year, I'm gonna make a version for a year, and it will just be a recap of like all the major events that happened in the year. So the card has 52 cards, and there's different categories. There's sports, there's social events, there's fashion, there's politics, and you just kind of play with your friends as a way to reminisce and remember how the year's gone, that kind of thing. And so again, what in the world is what I do, and so this game is basically what in the world game format. And so you can play it as like a drinking game, you can play it as like just general quiz night, fun games night, trivia, whatever you like. So I'll go through a few of the questions so you can get an idea of it. It should be coming out by the end of August. Actually, to reach out to the people to see how they're coming along with it. So when I do, that's going to be available on my Shopify, and it actually comes with a dice as well. So let me show you what one card looks like. This is what one card looks like. Yay! My lighting is not the best. Wait, should I bring it really close? There you go. You can see that? Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Okay.
Yeah.
So one card looks like, and there's 4 questions on each card. So the questions get progressively harder as you go down the card. So there's a green, yellow, red, and black. And so the green is the easiest, and then the yellow is harder, and then the red is harder, and the black is the hardest. And so you get a dice when you buy the game, and you roll the dice, whichever color it lands on, then you have to answer the question based on that. So imagine like it's a games night, I'm the games master. Someone from your team will roll the dice. If it lands on green, then I'll ask you the green question, which on the coffee card I just showed you guys is, what species of coffee bean accounts for 70%? Oh yeah, let me bring Desi on. So the green question on the coffee card I just showed you guys would be, what species of coffee bean accounts for 70% of global production?
Kenya's.
No, what species of coffee bean? What do you mean Kenya? What's Kenya?
Fair enough. I'm not good at this.
Oh, sorry. So
That's with an A, right?
Yeah, Arabica, yeah.
Arabica,
yeah. Esther said it in the chat, yeah.
I need that.
So if you rolled a red, just to give you a context on how much harder like the red would be. Now again, this is the prototype version I'm showing you guys. So in the original version, the questions are made a bit easier because I realized that a lot of people don't actually have as much knowledge on these things as I expected. No shade to you guys. So I did make the questions a bit easier just so it's more fun to play, because ultimately like you want to be able to get some of them right. So the logic behind it, if you guys are curious, is that for the green questions, I would probably say 9 out of 10 people should get it right. For the yellow questions, I'd probably maybe around 7 out of 10 people should get it right. For the red questions, around 3 out of 10 people should get it right. And for, again, depending on the category, if it's sports, girls don't really watch sports like that, so they might just not be able to get most of them, whatever. But the average person, shall we say, quote unquote. And for the black one, no one should really be able to get it. Like maybe 1 out of 20 people. Like the black ones are meant to be eliminators on purpose. So if you roll the dice, you want to avoid the black. But the thing with the black is you get the most points. So if it's a category you really know, you might want to roll black because you allow you to get the maximum amount of points. And if you're doing it as a game with someone else to compete with them, and it's like first to get to a certain score, being able to get 5 on a category like fashion, which you're really knowledgeable about, will be really good for you. So that's kind of how, I guess you can also choose to play without the dice and just choose a color you want based on how hard a category is. So each category is scored 1, 2, 3, 5. All right, just to show you an idea of how much harder the red question would be. The red question on the coffee card says, the earliest documented evidence of brewing coffee took place in which Middle Eastern country?
Yemen.
Wow, fantastic answer.
Knew I got it.
Well done. So that would be something like your team would be like, whoa, how did you know that? That's kind of fun. So needless to say, some of the questions are not year specific, just because for the other categories, it's hard to make 4 questions that are going to be year specific, because if I did, then no one would get the answers right, because a lot of people don't keep up with this stuff. So some of the questions are like just about the category generally, and some of them are year specific. But on every card, there should be at least one question that is year specific. But sometimes it's not always easy to do that, because again, if I made it year specific for all the questions, people just wouldn't get it. Let's do fashion. So fashion, the yellow question is complete the sentence. The boys are wearing dash and drinking dash now. The boys are wearing dash and drinking dash now. That should be like words you have to fill in, needless to say. Do you guys remember this phrase from, was it this year or last year? This phrase was popular.
Shorts and beer.
Shorts and beer? What?
I don't know.
Are you not on TikTok a lot? Someone should know this one.
Is it drinking cocktails?
No, the boys are wearing something and drinking something now. You guys, you guys, are gonna feel,
Bedazzled thoughts.
you guys are gonna feel really silly when I tell you because it's a very, very popular phrase on like
Glitter and mimosas.
No, not glitter and
What
mimosas.
is it?
I know. Is it capris? Those
Oh my!
trousers.
Why would boys be wearing capris,
No.
please? The
I heard
boys.
the boys are wearing those.
Does anyone not notice? The
What's
boys
the first dash? And
The
then we'll try and guess the second.
quarter zips.
Oh, matcha.
Matcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
fair enough.
You guys should
I
know that
forgot
one,
about
no?
that.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's imagine you played it like a year from now.
Oh
2025.
my
That was that
God,
popular
yes.
phrase or whatever what people were saying. Then you just reminisce about the year and you can have a little laugh and joke about, the fact that that was such a massive thing or whatever. Do some commentary on it. That's the idea behind it. So the fashion card, the black question on that one, which is meant to be no one will get it. Let's see how good you guys are. Desi, you came up to do the quiz and you haven't answered the question so far.
Yeah, because it's hard. I got the matcha one.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did? Okay. Again, the actual that card, I've made the questions a bit simpler. But if you're playing as a drinking game, just everyone get drunk in it because no one's going to know the answers clearly. All right. The black question on the fashion card is, who designed Rihanna's 2025 Met Gala costume?
Louis Vuitton,
No.
Balenciaga.
Balenciaga. When I say who, the thing is that it's actually a person. I don't know if
I'm
Balenciaga is a
not gonna
person. I'm
know
not sure if
these
they are.
guys' names.
Jacobs.
Yes, Marc Jacobs. Well done. It's Marc
Wow,
Jacobs.
fashionista.
So that's kind of the idea. Let's do two more. Internet and social media. Which color do you guys want? Green, yellow, red, or black?
Green.
Black.
Green. Let's start easy. Green.
Green.
It's that easy.
Okay. Which popular social media app was briefly banned in the United States in 2025?
TikTok.
So you can see that one everyone should get, right? Like that's kind of the idea. So again in the original one I did simplify the thing, so like really and truly the green one should be like, I actually tried it with a few people. Most people should get it right. All right, let's do a final one. Animals. Which one do you guys want? The green, the yellow, the red, or the black?
Red.
Red. How many different species of cat are there?
Go to green. Please.
Should we do yellow?
Yeah, sure.
We could do green and yellow. A killer whale, this is a green one, is a species of which animal? Dolphin, yes. Who's a dolphin?
Oh,
The only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dolphin. It's a whale killer. It's actually a Portuguese name that was written in reverse because the Portuguese put their adjectives at the start of at the end of the word instead of at the start. So
Local.
a killer whale is a whale killer. Anyway, see if you pay me to host the game, these kind of fun facts I'll be bringing along with you playing the game. So reflect on that. I'll start a booking service. Book me to be the games master. That could be quite fun. All right, final question for today. The yellow question on the animals card. Which animal was responsible for the most human deaths globally in 2025?
Mosquitoes.
Yes, the mosquito. I played that one quite a lot. Probably got that one, but yes, the mosquito. If you think about malaria and all those things, it makes sense. All right, hope you guys enjoyed that little rendition of Recall, the 2025 trivia game about global events. Make sure to put your pre-orders in. I should actually make a pre-order link on my Shopify. I didn't want to make a pre-order because I didn't want no Afro Nation situation where a bunch of people give me their money and then the cards are taking longer and everyone's like, what have you done with my money? And they start making a bloody thread about me on Twitter. Yeah. So that's why I haven't done that. But when they let me know it's ready and they're going to ship it to the UK, then I can make the pre-order stuff because then I know for sure like it's going to come. But like I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. And they are making it so they put the dice in it. So I think it's probably going to take a bit longer, but by the end of the month, I should have an update. Probably should be ready by then. And then you can do the pre-order. It's going to be reasonably priced. And again, think about it. It is something you can play for like the rest of your life, right? Imagine you have grandchildren and they're like, what was it like growing up in 2025? Did you guys even have phones? And did you guys even was anything going on? If you play this card game, you can remind them and just tell them about like, in 2025, this happened, blah, blah. They might ask you a question. What's matcha? What is quarter zips? Who's Rihanna? You guys weren't around when Rihanna was, all that kind of stuff, So it's meant to memorialize. I think of myself as a modern historian in many ways. So this kind of captures a point in time, which is a year, and just allows us to enjoy it in a fun and interactive way. Kind of like what I do with my live streams and my videos, I hope. So hope you guys enjoy that and support me on this venture so I can feed my family and get the baddest woman in the world because I'm going to be super rich.
Uh-oh.
All right. On that note, have a good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to be back tomorrow talking about who's going to win the Premier League. I should actually make
Arsenal.
so I'm
I'm
gonna do
out.
like a little fun, like who wins the Premier League and why kind of stuff. So it should be fun. A lot of the football people, make sure you tap in for that. I'm actually gonna make the link for that chat tonight. So I want people to register and I'll make a few videos kind of promoting it and stuff. So if you see that, make sure you're following so you can receive that link. Join the club if you're not already. Lava, you haven't joined the club yet. I think you have to click the top left or something. So that way you can just, it helps me grow and develop and stuff. And so yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you join tomorrow ahead of the Premier League season starting. Good night, Little. Yeah, thank you for joining. Ahead of the Premier League season starting. This Friday, isn't it? We can talk about what you call it. Who do you think wins Premier League and why? And someone said my surprise my question. I've talked about him already on the weekend, and I've posted that recording to YouTube if you care enough. It was a 4.5, almost 5 hour long conversation. I need to start getting better at posting snippets. I'll drop everyone now. Have a good night, everyone. I need to start getting better at posting snippets of my my live streams. I think they're very fun and interactive, right? But it's just loads of work. But to be fair, I had a nap tonight, so I'll post some snippets about that and people. Yeah, Liz, you say I always have good lives, but you're not following me. I'm not gonna lie. Women just be lying to you unprovoked. Oh, you're following me now. Sorry, I feel bad now. Never mind. Harassment. Yeah. Clips will be better. You're right. I'll definitely. You can check it on my what do you call it, on my YouTube. But yeah, you're right. No one wants to watch a 5.5 hour live, so it's up to me to kind of start posting snippets of that. And I post 10 videos a day regularly already, so it's a lot. But like, if I can start posting 5-6 snippets as well, I think we just give an idea of, for people of what I'm trying to do with this platform and stuff. And I think it's something we genuinely need, if I do say so myself, from a self-aggrandizing perspective. Being able to have conversations about what events is something that I enjoy massively, and I'm sure a lot of you that have been in here have also enjoyed it too. So hopefully you can join me for future lives, and I will see you guys tomorrow evening to discuss who do you think wins the Premier League. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.